And they're off. Green flag racing. Matt's getting an amazing start. Ultimate Case actually catching speed, napping. Matt getting the jump on his teammate down the inside. Necron losing to Cuckoo on the start. Can he pressure Dino into a mistake? Dino goes too wide and extremely close for P1. And is this going to be Jedlin going down the inside? Oh, there's a bit of contact. Oh, that's a spin. And that's another safety car. Oh my god, this carnage.
Jedlin and Kays are both in the pits. Fennec, Exus, and Diener all coming in as well. It'll be very tight if he still wants to make it to the back of this pack, but in the meantime, we do have everyone out of the pit, so we're probably going to get going on this next lap. We are in fact restarting now regardless of that incident.
Okay, he's looking for that undercut. Does he get it? It looks like he might do that side by side and very close together. Cuckoo looking for that inside line on Jedlin ahead. Going into 130R, but they're going to be wanting to go fully defensive into the chicane of Casio Triangle. He's going to end up finishing in P1, crossing the line. Greenlink's going to cross the line. It's going to be Ultimate K's across the line.
Gilish comes across the line to win his second MSR title.
And hello viewers, and welcome to round 6 of the MSR GT1 League here at Kansai in Japan. And talking about Japan, returning from Japan is none other than WMDR Martin.
Konnichiwa.
And yeah, so quite a curvy racetrack tonight, using the classic version. Already seeing in chat someone saying, what's the difference between the classic version and the normal version? And that's that the normal version has a good last chicane. This one has a bad last chicane, where we'll hopefully see if the cameras will be nice to us.
Yeah, I think we're going to be getting a lot of onboards today because whoever decided to program these cameras was probably just taking a break and let an AI handle this, because this is absolutely awful.
I feel like this is the result of someone using AI in their university course and then going to an actual job.
I mean, with every single angle being this bad, it's like someone just fell asleep on their keyboard and hit enter at the end of their assignment.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the cameras just aren't working.
Unless you're a fan of gravel and grass. Which, all gravel and grass fans, let us know in the chat if you are indeed a fan of that. But, yeah, let's go to a first onboard view of the day. On top of Cuckoo's car, currently in 11th place with a nice round time of 0.00000.
Yeah, hopefully we won't have too much desync, so hopefully we'll also see everyone's times. But you can see how curvy this track is compared to the tracks we've had over the course of the season. This is probably where the Nissan is going to succeed the most, except for maybe Donington last time, where it also was able to get some quite high points.
Yeah, so Nismo, for those of us that have been spending the last few weeks in the country of this track, why don't you explain what I've missed over the past 2 weeks?
Well, we've had the, of course, the 2-hour endurance feature race 2 weeks ago at Le Mans. So that was a very, very interesting track. I think halfway through it was we did have some disconnects. Unfortunately, we had to end that one shortly, but luckily people still got accounted for points and people just moved back the laps. Then in Donington we had a lot of people complaining about track limits, a lot of drive-throughs on that track, and hopefully we won't see something similar today. We head into what is known as the bad chicane. You can just see how much angle you have to get rather than taking the normal one. But yeah, a lot of drivers complaining, Binding being one of them, but able to get a 5th place position for that, so doing a good job even though all the complaints. And yeah, that brings us on to today, which is at Kansai, and hopefully we might see some more high points from some drivers who have been more towards the back, like Donington.
Now, I don't mean to put on my tinfoil hat here, but I just think it's a big coincidence that as soon as I'm gone, there's this big incident that requires shortening the event, which may or may not have benefited certain drivers. And no one seems to know what could have caused this. So I'm just saying, they only did that because I wasn't there. Now, for the race after that, with the track limits thing, and when you say that, and I look at this final chicane that we're about to come up to again, I would gladly take a drive-through for ignoring that corner, just out of principle. I do not take corners that are that bad.
Yeah. I mean, drive-throughs. I mean, luckily though, with the drive-through, I think Donington on the entirety of the calendar does have the shortest pit lane, if I'm not mistaken. So, luckily, wasn't too much of a hindrance. But I think Binding actually was dropped 2 positions because of it. Could have got a 3rd place if it wasn't for drive-throughs.
Oh, that's got to be a painful one then, as we're about to enter the worst corner on the entire calendar yet again. I wonder how many side-by-side moments we're going to see attempted into that section, as Kuku now coming across the line. Currently P11, 1.4 off the lead. See if they improve any on that.
I mean, as much as we have, as they do improve up to 9th, yeah, as much as we do hate that last chicane, we have seen some great side-by-side moments. And of course, being on Kuku there, I remember having, I don't know who it was with, I think it might have been with RuneLink on the V10 League, where there was some absolutely amazing side-by-side action here. Luckily, not as bad cameras as what we've got today, so we were actually able to see some stuff.
Yeah, I've clicked on Veilside, and I think out of the entire time that I've got him selected, we've gotten maybe 10% actual Veilside on screen.
I think I thought I saw a different car pass as well. As
yeah,
the
it's been interesting to see Mats and Veilside really just dominate in these cars. It's highly unusual to have 2 teammates be this good in a season, so I wonder if they're going to stick together for the next cars as well.
I mean, yeah, these two absolutely close to each other, not only on track, but also in the championship. Mats being overtaking Veilside for the championship lead last race. So only 3 points separate them. So this will be deciding who is going to come further in the points going into the last race, and hopefully we won't see any crashes between them, because that could be detrimental to both drivers.
Absolutely, as Fennec is currently in P3, outperforming both Tomba and Gillish. That seems like a standout performance if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, Fennec in the Porsche? Is he in the Porsche or is he in the McLaren? He is, in fact, in the McLaren. But yeah, on the topic of the Porsche, I think the Porsche tonight gonna be the best car on the track. I think the Mercedes struggles with long turns, so maybe some of the drivers in the Mercedes who are quick on the straight line tracks are going to be suffering a bit today. As well as that, I think that the Nissans of Tomahawk, Kuku, and if there's one more, I'll have to remember it later, but they're all going to be hoping to get some high scoring points. I mean, Tomahawk's P4 in the Nissan, absolutely amazing job so far in qualifying.
As I've realized, I think there's a little bit of Japanese on that sticker inside this car, which is an interesting little detail.
Yeah, next to the 60 mark, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah, that. We might need a translator for that, but yeah. That is a very, very nice detail. Tombolk's down 1/10 on his time. He's going to have to gain a lot of time through this last chicane.
If he gets slipstream out of the final corner, that could be huge.
I believe that being Max in front.
Didn't seem like the tidiest exit though, and he gives up on the lap before he even gets to the line. So, with 4.5 minutes left to go, there might only be 1 or 2 more runs in it for Tomba. Lap time around here being almost 2 full minutes. So, most people though still out on track. Only a couple people in the pits. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of lap time improvements, as the track should technically get better and better as time goes on, unlike the camera angles.
Already seeing some fans filter into the chat saying Team JD or JD Team. Hopefully oh yeah, that is something you've missed. The new driver, of course. Well, I say a new driver for those who don't know. JD was, I think, pretty much at the start of the MSR, but then disappeared for a while and now has returned. And hopefully, yeah, we'll see some more of him over these next coming races.
Yeah, currently P14, so beating some fairly respectable names that we've got down there. Looking forward to see where he's gonna finish, because of course I don't remember too much of his previous results myself. But yeah, looking forward to that. And I was gonna say something else, but I forgot. So I'm gonna go back to Veilside, who's only a 10th behind his teammate Mats, and head and shoulders above the rest, because the rest is 3+ tenths behind these guys.
I mean, these two teammates are absolutely insane. It's like watching Red Bull, just ignoring Monaco, of course. But it's like watching Red Bull
and Miami
in pretty much every race, except for the ones they've lost, where they've just been absolutely dominating the grid and in the team standings as well. They're, I think, looking at the team standings, they're 111 points ahead of their closest competitor.
Yeah, so that could well be the constructors wrapped up for these guys, but Gillish now puts it in 2nd place in the same car as the other two, but definitely still a very impressive lap, only 100th off of Mats and a 10th ahead of his teammate.
Yeah, extremely close. As much as the Porsche has been seen to be the quickest on the track, the McLaren drivers who have been BOP'd still proving how quick they truly are and putting it up towards the front.
Also, what should not be ignored is Binding in the Mercedes, currently ahead of Keza, down in P6.
Yeah, Binding having a really, really good season. In the standings, they're P5, battling the likes of Fennec and Trouble in P4.
I feel like there's at least one driver we should have as a running joke that we only look at them in trackside cam.
Well, I mean, I guess... Oh, God, this is terrible. I can't... Oh, God.
So yeah, here
I
you
seen
can
him,
see
I seen him. There he is.
You can
Oh,
see
lost him
Binding
again.
absolutely tearing through Sector 1. It's impressive stuff. Just look at those lines.
Honestly, and look at how finely cut the grass is, too.
Yeah, and the gravel, it almost seems like it's been raked. It's just so well maintained, you know?
Exactly. As
It's all thanks to Binding.
Binding getting what we can hope is a good exit out of the hairpin, coming into, I believe the Spoons is the corner?
Yeah, he's entering Spoon Corner now, getting that car rotated, doing a really good job with that. He's also carrying some slipstream behind for someone else. As you can see, his fairly broken car come out of that corner.
Yeah, that's Max in the background, hoping that they can get slipstream.
I mean, just look at how fast he's going. We can't even see him.
I mean, and yeah, through 130R. Didn't even see him go through 130R. That's insane. And then going into the chicane of Casio Triangle. In fact,
as the rear end really steps out there.
As Veilside takes provisional pole within the last couple seconds of qualifying, as we see his teammate pass him through the first corner. Matt is the one under pressure, and what I can do actually is hopefully I can give us some manual cameras is what I've realized is if we go on board with someone go track cam, I might be able to control the cameras manually.
Was that on or off track cam?
On track cam, on track cam. If hold on, there we go. As Gillis going through the hairpin, coming out of the corner. I think if I press the next camera, yes, it gives me. So it turns out we have to do the cameras manually, and I don't think Martin's able to see this either. So I
can see what you're doing on stream, delayed by about half a minute, and on my screen it's just nothing but gravel.
Gillis going a bit wide through spoons, touching the curbs, and coming up past this little pit lane, which I believe they did actually add a track layout which does use that pit lane, which is awesome. See him fly through 130R. I believe he's down on his time, but can he do it through?
Was that a floating pit box?
Oh, as Gillis goes off the track.
Must have been distracted by that floating pit box, as Matt's still currently setting his final lap, only 1/10 off his teammate, 1/10 down on this lap too. So he's gonna have to find 2/10 in these final few corners. Is he gonna be able to absolutely nail it? Because he's really gonna have to if he wants that pole position.
That was a little bit of a lock up there. That's not gonna be that good as he leaves the chicane of Casio Triangle. And to the line, can he do it? Can he take pole away from the outside? He does!
Oh, he found those 2/10 and even an extra. I think he gained 3/10 in that sector.
Now
Binding finishing his final lap as well. Does he improve? I don't think so.
As I've also been told to not ignore my hydration, as sorry Carlove, I will do that right now. But yeah, so Matt's taking pole, Veal side very close behind, getting stolen by Matt at the last minute. Gillis in P3, Fennec in P4, Tomahawks in P5, Binding in P6, Ultimate K's in P7, Cuckoo in P8, Max in P9, Trouble in P10, Wild Mammoth in P11, Svi in P12, Jedlin in P13, Exevius in P14, JD in P15, Kunisek in P16, Shad in P17, Trixer in P18, and Excess in.
Remarkably enough, Matt's the only driver to get a 45 in Sector 1.
Yes, very, very, I mean, through time 1, you have to be committed, I believe, and if you're not committed, then you're slow, but if you overcommit, you're going to go wide through that second corner as well. It's going to be, and then your line's just going to be in shambles, and especially through the S section. If you just mess up your line by ever so slight a bit, the car behind is going to try and make a move on you.
Speaking of mess up, so we've lost 2 drivers apparently, so there's talks of maybe rehosting the lobby, but I'm not sure what's being decided yet.
That gives us some time to. I would leave just quickly to go for bullet rate, but I don't want it just in case.
I mean, you should be fine because no matter what happens, it's gonna be formation lap and stuff anyway.
That is true. That is true. Feel well, Fanta. That is quite the mighty name. I probably said that before. But I've just fully read the name. Feel well, Fanta saying, yeah, Matt is really strong. And yeah, I completely agree. This entire season, he has been the Max Verstappen. The only person getting in his way at all has been his teammate Vilside. And I think we've had some...
Don't forget Gillish with the legendary no stop.
Oh, Ash and Kira, I'm sorry, I did also not mean to ignore you. I just got, some reason, Feel Well Fanta and your name just merged together. As hello there. And welcome back, there. Good to see you. And I don't know what's happening with the lobby. I mean, we've lost C, and you said potentially one other driver.
Oh, there goes another.
Yeah, we're I think we are. Oh, as finally I get to bring it back. The red flag's out.
Actually, Carlover kind of brings up an interesting concept there. We could maybe start playing anthems after the races.
I wonder if anthems are copyrighted.
They're probably not, but it probably depends on which source you get it from. Like, I'm sure some bands have copyrighted their rendition of it. But I guess that puts Max on pole, followed by Xevious. It's going to be a thrilling top 2 fight for these 34 laps.
We'll go some pictures while we wait. That doesn't remind me, I do need to get some more pictures.
Just a whole bunch of pictures of Svi.
What, bending it in the wall? Oh.
Or I guess what you could try and do as well, if you could pull that up, is explain your livery tier list to me, because I did miss that, unfortunately.
Ah, yes, my livery tier list. I don't actually. Ooh, let me check.
Oh, that is an interesting picture, though. It's what game actually has the rally cars with their suspension moving that much?
Automobilista.
Really interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. WRXs have quite the interesting suspensions.
I didn't even know they did that in real life.
I don't think they do. Yeah, Automobilista quite fun as yeah, going for all the leagues. I think right now looking at some stock car. I think this being one of our first Automobilista leagues. It's definitely a good one.
I still remember when all the stock footage was still PC2.
Yeah,
But,
that's
we
quite
do
funny.
Have a
I did.
question about the actual liveries. Is BR1? Do you actually want to be driving in the game with the MSR liveries?
Letting you know, lobby has been rehosted because we had some DCs.
Yep.
Yes, we noticed.
I'm guessing same password.
Yes, yes, yes.
Sushi. It is definitely not sushi. Do not try and join. If you want to join the races, you gotta sign up in the Discord.
I feel. Yeah, exactly. I feel like after we should explain, especially you, the password, because it is a very interesting password, I've got to say.
And to answer Trouble's question, I had a lot of Japanese food in Japan. I can't quite remember if there was any yakitori among it, though. So probably not, but I've definitely had it before.
As I think I found the reason for our red flag, as Svi saying, for anyone curious as to why my internet went down, my mum unplugged it to Hoover, then putting the words FML.
Well, at least we can race tonight knowing that Svi's house is very clean indeed.
I think
The race start's been delayed by 1 minute, by the way. We should start at 8:55 Central European Standard Time. And apparently BR1 says, yeah, he does like the liveries, so
I think if you join the Discord, I don't know if you're in the Discord or if you want me to post a link. I might as well post one.
I wasn't sure if you can access the Discord download thing if you haven't signed up for the actual league itself.
That's true. That's true. Well, I'm sure it would be fine if you know. I don't see any problem. So I mean, I could always. I don't think that would be a problem. I could always send out a link.
No, commercial when you started explaining.
Apologies. I'll take the blame for that one. Yeah. So I mean, I'll quickly just post the link. If you can't access deliveries, just say in the Discord, and hopefully someone, either myself or someone else, will send you a link to the deliveries.
All right, as the new lobby has in fact been fired up, so if you could bring back AMS2, Nismo.
Yes.
Unless you want to fire up PC2, which I would have no objections to.
That's quite funny that you mentioned the PC2 though, because I did in fact just recently do a clean sweep of my computer, and I may or may have not deleted a lot of PC2 screenshots.
You absolute barbarian.
Automobilista is an upgrade, okay?
I need a new co-commentator. We need to replace Nismo, guys. But by the way, do you see the little game icon I have next to my name in the commentary booth?
The game icon. Oh yeah, playing an objectively superior game to it. No, 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 no. Of course you'd put something like that. I'm gonna try get us a good camera so we can see the starting grid. There we go. Okay, that's better.
All right, Asa Shinkira, I'll take you up on that offer. If you have any good lines, just put them in chat and I'll read them out loud during the race. So BR1's currently in the Discord looking for the liveries. I'm not sure if you have time to find that, Nismo, but BR1, if you do stick around after the race, I'm sure we can definitely help you if we don't have time before the race.
Yeah, exactly. The lights do seem to be going out, so that does bring us to our formation lap. And I'm going to quickly just disappear for the time being, so I'll leave you with Martin.
All right, fellas, so formation lap is underway now. Looks like, yeah, so it's not going to be in the actual starting order that people are currently parked in, of course, because we had to reset the session, but I'll give you guys another rundown of the starting positions, because we've got Mats starting this race from first place yet again with his teammate alongside, so looking to be another good evening for those two. Gillish with a pretty good qualifying tonight as well, not far off of the pace of the top two in P3. Fennec definitely outperforming himself there in P4, up ahead of Tamba in 5th place and Keza in 6th, just ahead of Cuckoo, whom you can almost see there behind the barrier. Max in P8 as well, followed by Trouble and Mammoth rounding out the top 10. Svi with a very well vacuumed house currently in P11, followed by Jedlin 12 in 12th, Xevious in 13th with the number 44 on that car, and Kunisek down in 14th, but he's not in last because there's still Trickster behind, followed by Shad, who's eagerly trying to join the back of that pack over there, and Exus just behind him in 17th, followed by Binding, who is stationary on the grid and not moving. This... I wonder if that's a glitched car, because JD is definitely not in last place. Oh, and I think we've just lost Binding. So that is unfortunate.
Hello, I've
oh
returned.
Boy, yeah, no,
what have I missed?
I'm seeing what you're saying there, Asa Shinkira. So Nismo, welcome back. I have some bad news and I have some more bad news.
Oh god.
So the bad news is Binding's dead.
What?
And the other bad news is that we have severe desyncing on your end and my end.
Oh, so this is going to be quite the interesting race then we're going to watch.
Yes, so on my screen, I think the only car that's out of sync is JD. Because it says he's in last place on my screen, and he's definitely not. And you are missing Veilside, apparently.
Yeah, I miss...
And Gillish.
And
You're
Gillish,
missing
yes.
Veilside and Gillish.
So, two top contenders which, funny enough, qualified next to each other. This is going to be an interesting one.
Oh, also, Tokugawa, you are by far the most cultured person I've seen in a long time there with that comment. Oh, I think we're doing another rehost. We're doing another restart of the session.
Not another one.
Which means Tomahawks may win this iteration of the Grand Prix if he's the last one to leave the lobby. We've currently got Fennec in P2. Tamba, though, disappears into the void out of that corner, which puts Mammoth in the lead with a mighty overtake on Shad as they race down out of Spoon Corner. JD watching from in the pit lane, and Mammoth being the final car out on track.
Just to make sure, that is then another red flag. So we've had 2 red flags in one. I feel like that's got to be a record somewhere.
Well, it's definitely not a record compared to the average F1 race nowadays.
Corner cut, kill him. I'm kidding.
no, drive through. As JD the only car still in the session, which means we will be leaving it and going to the new lobby.
Alright, let's do that.
I hope the desync's not going to be as bad in the next session. Because
Yeah.
you missing out on 2 of the top 3 drivers is very, very annoying.
Yeah, indeed. As Kaiser putting rehosted once more. Be the final time.
Failed to join the game. Oh no. Yeah, no, I do think it would be cool to have like some sort of championship where every race is in a different game.
That would be a lot of
Pyongyang Racer
downloading,
has to
I'll
be
say
one of
that.
them. I'd say the start of this
I
event's
guess you
been about
already
as chaotic as
realized
the Monaco
we
GP.
rehosted once more.
Yep. Just
Tell the drivers to stop desyncing and disconnecting, please.
I'll try. I'll let them know.
So yeah, thank you to all 11 of you for sticking with us. I know it's been a tough start to the session, but hey, we've seen more action than half of Monaco has.
that is a very good point. You know, as much as Monaco had 1 red flag at the start, yeah, let's one up it. Let's have 2. Well, at least all I'm saying is at least there hasn't been a safety car yet. Because wait, who has voted for safety cars? Let's have a look at
Oh wait,
that.
the vote's already over?
But it's in the running right now, but the vote would have been over by now. So no one can vote. What does that mean? You didn't vote?
It's because I didn't refresh the stream. I never got the poll.
Yes, you can't steal my. But who is in the running then?
Well, we're talking about the real life F1 Monaco race, Asa Shakira. I don't think we had any Monaco races on the calendar for MSR.
Yeah, I mean, in GT1s here around Monaco, Jesus, that would have been. I mean, I don't think it's even going to be possible to overtake as binding on pole. I'm kidding.
I mean, these cars are practically boats, so they're relatively similar to the modern day F1 car. So it would definitely have been a dull Monaco as well, aside from the crashes. The thing is, Monaco is actually more entertaining in F2 and F3 just because the cars are that much smaller.
Yeah, I mean, and the Formula Inters or the Juniors too. They're just. I think I did a race in the Formula Juniors around Monaco on Noblesta, and it's the most fun I think I've had around Monaco. Karts as well. Karts around Monaco. The super ones at least are hilarious.
I think we've got an endless cycle of disconnects as that's another driver out. I don't quite know who we lost, but we're down to 18 again.
Yep. I don't see a Svi. Oh no, Svi is there. Who are we missing? Gillis? No, Gillis is there. It's trying to work out now who is here and who is. Rubble's here. Fennec? Fennec's there. No, Fennec is there. Who are we missing? Rubble, Tombolt, Axis, JD, Veilside, Trick, Max is, yeah, Exevius, yeah. B, Shad. Yep. Matt, Veilside here, yeah. Ultimate K's. Oh, as Axis isn't able to ready up in time.
That's a little strange. I mean, it seems like people are forming up again, I think, but there's only one driver currently doing so. No? Okay, I guess we're getting going again. But, yeah, it is a little silly to restart the lobby for 2 people and then to lose 2 people again.
Yeah, indeed. Let's double cross our fingers and hope that there isn't any desync. So far, I think looks to be fine with the top contenders.
So who exactly did we lose?
I will, in fact, I'll look on the sheet and see if... So we got Matt's. Veilside. I think we got Ultimate K's. Trouble, Binding, Fennec, Exevius, Wild Mammoth, Cuckoo, Exus. Judlin? Is Judlin here?
I do not see Jedlin in my list.
Eddie? Oh, I don't see an Eddie.
Yes, you are correct. So those are the 2 drivers that we are missing.
That is very, very unfortunate there, but hopefully we can still have some good racing with what is the 17 drivers. All drivers are going to be getting points by the end.
And yeah, Mojo, I very much agree with you there. It's been a little unfortunate with what's been going on. However, I do have good news this time to go along with the bad news. And the good news is no more desync.
Yippee!
Actually, wait, Nismo, can you scroll down to P17 just to double check that?
I have... Oh, yeah, I have Trixer at the back.
Okay, you have Trickster and Shad down there. Okay, then I think we are good.
Yay! So hopefully that will be completely fine. But a shame that X is, I think X is struggling with a bit of Wi-Fi issues recently.
Now, I'm just gonna give you guys another rundown of the grid, which you can very easily see here by the camera images. So we got Mats with his nice gravel livery starting in P1, followed by his teammate Veilside. Gillish, one of their top competitors, up in 3rd place, looking to have another aggressive start and get some positions on lap 1, I'm sure. Fennec definitely performing well in P4 with Tomba, Binding, and Keza all right behind him, so that's promising to be quite the fight as well. Cuckoo right behind, I'm sure looking to improve on that position as well. Max in P9, Trouble rounding up the top 10. Mammoth, Svi, Xevious in 11th, 12th, and 13th. So I think Svi and Xevious there gaining a position from Jedlin, who would have been in 12th. Then JD in 14th, Cooney in 15th, followed by Shad and Trixer on the back row of the grid.
Yeah, Ashika was saying, is everyone dying? And it seems so. And yeah, someone, Bricks 92. I'm guessing that's hopefully what that is, because it's either BR 1 times 92. And I didn't come here to do maths, but how has it been with the DCs and desyncs so far this series? I mean, it's been pretty good considering how many people in the lobby, but yeah, I mean, except for Le Mans, I wouldn't say there's been anything that major, and this has probably been one of the worst events in Le Mans with desync. So far the series has been really good with desync and disconnect, so I'm going to say that, and we're going to get another disconnect, and then that's going to be a commentator's curse, isn't it? I've completely
I was actually
forgot
thinking
about that.
of saying we're going to have no more disconnects, but you just did it for me.
So if we do have any more disconnects due to Wi-Fi, that is, I do apologize to the individual who got cursed.
Yeah, we're going through the final sector now, about to enter the horrifying chicane, so I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing an entire grid of cars go through that awful bit of track. Not with that camera angle.
I think I might be able to get the cameras on that angle if you want.
Yeah, go right ahead.
If I can... Come on.
That's the wrong corner entirely.
There we go. Oh, well, this works, as Matt leads the pack with his teammate Veilside alongside of him. Gillis behind Matt, along with Fennec, Tomahawks, Binding, Ultimate K's, Cuckoo, Max, Trouble, Wild Mammoth, Fee Xevious, JD, and Kunisek all in the top 15. They're in the go zone. So when is Matt's going to take off? When is he going to leave the group?
Oh, I just can't use those cameras right now. It's going to be a strange start for us, guys, but bear with us.
And it's green flag racing as Mats gets an amazing start. Gillis almost getting the jump on Veal's side, going into the first corner. They're almost single file filtering through, almost 3 wide behind them though, going 2 by 2 as someone goes a bit wide. There's a bit of contact there between Cuckoo and Trouble, going into the S's now. Don't want to be going too wide. It's wild, not wild, but Trouble goes wide there.
Good recovery.
Yeah, Bet just keeping it on the tarmac, but in fact going completely off. That was very well done. Trixer looking for the move on JD. I think Shad looking for the move around the outside, not able to do it, and I think gets pushed off into the gravel. Oh, a bit of contact between JD and Kunisek, and off goes Kunisek.
That was some very strange contact, but Kuni managed just to make a 360 out of it, so that's minimal time loss from that spin, but still quite unfortunate. Meanwhile, Mats and Vilside still getting that P1 and 2 secured for now, but Gillish really close to the back of Vilside, well within the slipstream, so he's not giving up on that yet. Now just behind we have Tomba still behind Fennec and Keza. Not too many positions being changed so far, except for Binding, who has dropped down a little bit. Now Max not too far behind him, with Mammoth going a little bit wide as well. I think Binding, they're losing the rear end, giving Max that inside line out of Spoon.
However, that Mercedes is going to have the straight line speed on the Porsche, but does it have enough to get in front of it before 130R? They're too wide, and I think his nose might just not be ahead as Binding leaves the space, as Max looking for the move down the inside and tries to plant it down. Binding breaks later, now covering the inside, both tumbling over each other, and a bit of contact from behind as well.
Oh, that was really, really jank stuff, but they're still side by side now on the straight after that corner.
I think someone might have spun coming out of...
It's Mammoth. Mammoth's at the back of the field now.
Very, very unfortunate.
And the top 3 is still very close as well. I think Gillish almost tried to go for a move there, and Fennec just behind had a bit of a lockup, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Tomba looking very, very eager to get that position off of Fennec. And I think that's Xevious having spun out now in turn 1. Might have been a collision there with Mammoth, because they are quite close to each other. Meanwhile, Max still trying to hunt down Binding, but it's not going to be easy with the straight line speed that car has. Lots of 2-car battles going on at the moment, but in the mid-pack, I think we've got the most action, so we're going to be keeping an eye on that via Trixer. He's going to be our camera car for the time being.
Yeah, Brick's in the chat as well saying 5 McLarens in the top 6. Yes, the McLaren drivers and the Nissan drivers being the highest BOP, so they've been put into the slower cars, but it hasn't hindered them one bit, and they're still dominating the field this season. The Mercedes being the quickest.
That's Trouble doing an epic drift. Could be called a Tokyo drift, but they're not in Tokyo, and that does cost him a position, so Svi moves up into the top 10. Now we've got Max once again looking to get slipstream off of Binding, but then Binding going to the left to not give him that. So that's defensive tactics there as they both go slightly wide, getting a little bit squirrely on that curb, and now into the braking zone for the worst corner on the track.
Going into one, it's quite easy to play defensive, but diagonal lines are going to be weird going into that corner, because, I mean, the way that corner is structured, I think Kunisek getting a better run than JD out of the corner.
Also, unfortunately, we have missed the overtake of Tomba on Fennec, so Tomba's going to try and hunt down his own teammate now. Gillish in 3rd place, who has dropped off a little bit from Veilside and Mets. So it looks like the fight at the front is on a bit of a cooldown at the moment, but Svi and Cuckoo really, really close. Svi's only just gotten into 10th position, and he's already hunting down Cuckoo. He's got some good pace at the moment.
So, looking at the chart, Matt and Veilside still holding position, as well as Gillis as well. But Tomahawks has gained that P4 position on Fennec off the start. As well as Ultimate K's gaining it on Binding. Binding though still holding on 7th.
Also, apparently Jedlin had the game give him the wrong car despite claims that he selected the right one. So that is unfortunate there for Jedlin. That's why he had to pull out of this race.
Very unfortunate indeed. Cuckoo and Max also swapping positions on the first lap, but Svi is going to be pressuring Cuckoo. Cuckoo's Nissan doesn't have the best of straight line speeds, will probably be stronger in the corner, but everyone knows that the Porsche is going to be the quickest around this circuit, and Svi is in the slipstream. He's gaining, going through 130R. Little bit of a lift, but still incredibly close. Does he look for a lunge going into the chicane of Cutting Triangle? No, he stays behind. Cuckoo goes semi-defensive into the corner. He looking for a better exit, but Cuckoo just planting it on the apex, not letting Svi get the exit he needs. And
as JD and Kunishek still very, very close as well. Kunishek overtaking JD a whole lap earlier, so these guys on pretty similar pace it seems. As Svi is still hunting down Cuckoo. Max still hunting down Binding, and Binding actually did miss his apex earlier. He went a bit wide in Spoon, so he's definitely under a lot of pressure right now. As was Fennec, but Kays has dropped back a little bit off of that car, so maybe taking some pressure off there. And with the pace that Tomba has at the moment, he is not going to be catching his teammate. He's almost a second lap slower.
I mean, something as well that I think some drivers might have to consider is this isn't a proper long race like the 24-hour one. So some drivers might be trying to think they want to save their tyres as much as possible and potentially just pit for fuel. Because this track does have a lot of... Oh, and that's contact between Cuckoo and Svi. Luckily, that corner being a hairpin, so that actually helps Cuckoo get around. But Svi, yeah, unable to make the move.
Yeah, I think he realized his own mistake there. Didn't really try and get any advantage out of it, as and the rear end on Binding's car in Spoon always seems to get really, really loose, but I'm guessing he's just getting that rotation done extra early to use that Mercedes engine power on the straight as quickly as possible, and it seems to be working because he's pulling a gap to Max right now.
Yeah, Max was one of the aggressors at one point, almost making a move into what is this corner. In fact, I think he might have. On the back of Svi on the back of Cuckoo. The Cuckoo known for that amazing defense last time they were at this track. So whether they can bring it up again, I do wonder, as Svi moving out of the slipstream there, or maybe trying to break slipstream from trouble behind.
And funnily enough, the two teammates of those guys are...
that's Shad!
No,
that's Binding. No, that's Binding, sorry.
Yeah. We almost would have had a commentator's curse, but I was too slow to actually get it out there in time. I was gonna say, we had Max and Binding chasing each other, and their teammates were doing the exact same thing back here, but as soon as those words started to come out of my mouth, Binding had a massive spin and is now in almost last place.
Yeah, I mean,
So
Binding had
very
such a good Donington. I think the Automobilist, the gods have gone, nope, no more. And have Kirsten with a spin, but that's Cuckoo going wide there. And has that allowed Svi to get up and close?
I wonder, was that Cuckoo going wide, or was that another tap from Svi in the same corner?
It didn't look like a tap, but all I know is that Cuckoo is also on the back of Max. So this has turned into a three-way fight for P7.
Yes, keeping the cameras on Svi for now as Xevious comes into the pits. I'm seeing some cheers for JD. JD is going to be under a lot of pressure from Mammoth starting very, very soon. Of course, Mammoth being one of the faster drivers, but pretty bad start to this race. Span, I think, and was sent to the back of the grid. As we're going into the worst part of the track once again, we'll see who can break the latest. I think it might be Svi.
I think Cuckoo might be able to get a good exit. Can they do anything with it? It doesn't look like. But now we're going to see what is known as a slipstream train. And I think Cuckoo has the best of it as they're really close up. They pull to the left. Max holding the inside. Can Cuckoo make it all the way around the outside? They can't. As Max holds on for even more of a bit. Wild Mammoth though, and JD.
Oh,
JD's
he's
off.
hit the curb. So JD paying a hefty price for just touching that curb and barely getting hit by binding there. I think they might not have gotten damage from that because that was quite light. But yeah, unfortunate there for JD losing a lot of time and binding losing just a little bit of time. And speaking of losing time, Xevious is out of the race. We're down to 16 drivers now. That puts JD in last place.
Fortunate on JD, but this battle here continues. Trouble in the background. If these three fight too much, this could turn from what was a two-way battle to a three-way battle. Could turn into a four-way battle for P7.
Yeah, so now you're in Svi's bumper, so if there's any more contact with Cuckoo's car, you're going to be the first people to know. But getting extra close here, and it's nice to have a three-car fight, because that gives you that dilemma of, do I act on the offensive, or do I try to drive defensively? Because if you try to attack the car in front, you might be leaving some doors open to the car behind.
I think a lot of people...
There's always a psychological game going on there.
I think the people as well who voted for the safety car are going to be licking their lips for an incident between as Svi late on the brakes, tries it round the outside, overcooks it into the corner, and that's going to be him losing a lot of time and a position to trouble.
Now, if we follow FIA or FISA standards or whatever it was back in 1989, that would disqualify Svi from this race.
Really?
They disqualified Senna for cutting the chicane, remember?
Yeah, we probably gained time, surely.
No, his car was standing still, and then when they restarted his car, they pushed it through the chicane. Well, they pushed it through the tire chicane or whatever it was that cut the actual chicane. But he was standing still for probably like half a minute. But because he rejoined the track off the, by cutting the chicane, they disqualified him because he didn't do the full track distance or something like that.
Ah.
Which is some great ABS, but yeah, so Svi currently still in P10 after that, but losing his offensive position on Cuckoo and Max, and now he has to overtake Trouble as well. So that's some more effort that he's going to have to do, and he seems to be quite unstable on exits as well, so he's going to have to watch out that he doesn't push the tires too much. As Kunisek is now in the pits, so that puts JD in 15th.
Trouble though, yeah, putting the pressure on Cuckoo. I think this is where the Mercedes will probably be the best anywhere on the circuit through the fastest, most straight-lined section. I think Spoons, though, going to be quite impacting on the Mercedes as some of the Mercedes drivers complaining of understeer. Yeah, Trouble, though, in the slipstream, and I wonder how much will he gain?
Doesn't seem to be all that much. But we'll see if you can get anything on the brakes or throttle. I mean, you really want to keep momentum through every corner, but this stupid chicane just makes it impossible. He did a really good job mid-corner, but then kind of has a little oversteer on the exit there, which costs him on the straight. But I think, yeah, Svi is a second and a half behind, so no immediate threat from there just yet, as he's actually only a 10th off his PB. And just to give everyone another rundown of the top positions, Matt is still leading this race, setting pretty good lap times just ahead of his teammate side, but Gillish has actually been a bit faster over the previous lap, setting a 52.8, less than 4 seconds behind the leader. Tom is still dropping off though, and not quite pulling away from Fennec as I'm sure he would have wanted to. Keza having a bit of a lonely race behind Fennec. It seems like he's just not able to get any closer to that car. And Max still, of course, in a bit of an indirect fight with Cuckoo and Trouble. And I would have said Svi, but he's actually in Shad now.
Yeah, Svi was in that battle for P7, but now he's trying to make it to P10. Gets pushed a bit wide by Shad. A bit of contact there between the two drivers. And Svi almost losing it into the side. Shad almost cutting his nose off. They're still too wide as Svi now slips behind, slides in behind Shad.
Yeah, Shad definitely trying to use all the track there and probably needing it as well because, as you said, that Merc is a bit on the understeery side as it's going to be a little bit of a better exit for the Merc on the straight now, so it's going to be tough for Svi to catch up. He's probably going to want to try something on the brakes into that horrific chicane again.
Heading through 130R.
Although, actually, this is one thing I wanted to bring up. Since they can't actually get the official track name, like they can't get the license for Suzuka, what if that's actually not 130R, but 129R? It's 1 degree off, and we just haven't noticed.
Yeah, I mean, that would be quite a way to get around it, but we'll just keep it 130R for now.
Also, if they would rename the track Suzuka to Suzuki, would they still get copyright strike, but by a different company?
I mean, if I was Suzuki, I'd definitely try and file something.
I'd say it's free advertising.
But very true, very true.
But then again, I'm also not a high-level Japanese company executive, so what do I know? As seems like this is the closest scrap on track at the moment. Svi trying to get by Shad, and he's dropping away from his earlier battle, though. Max now a good 6 or 7 seconds ahead of Svi. Currently in P11, although he is setting personal best sectors as he gets really, really close to the bumper there.
Shad going a bit wide. Does that allow Svi to get more momentum off the corner? He can't, but he's closer. Svi better in sectors 1 and 2, but doesn't seem to have it through sector 3 on Shad. Where Svi last time made a small mistake. But he's kept it behind Shad for now, and he's in the slipstream, so we could see a potential move coming up soon.
Yeah, still losing time on the straight, though. That Merc just too powerful with the engine, but now they're going through a corner. That's the Merc's weak spot, and a braking zone soon as well. Goes to the inside, sends it.
Down the inside, too wide, into the chicane, and for once the things as I think that's a cut by Shad. And that is Svi up into P10.
And in real life, that would be a situation where there's a question on, oh, he's got to give back the position, but since you lose that much time in the gravel in this game, he's actually lost it. But I'm wondering, is Svi giving that back, or is he just that much slower on the straight? Because Shad's already got him again. It's a bit of a nudge there, but I think not intentional as Svi slots in behind Shad once again. So that Merc, even with a horrendous exit coming out of a gravel trap, still faster at turn 1.
Yeah, maybe Svi running a very high downforce car compared to Shad, which is just running the Mercedes, which even on high downforce is very quick in a straight line.
Yeah, and that's one of the most frustrating combinations to race, really. I've had a few races like that myself, but I'll talk about that later, as I think Trickster's just made a mistake and let Mammoth through for P12. I'll tell you who else is close as well. Kays has finally gotten to the back of Fennec's car for the battle in P5.
Battle of the McLarens. 2 different teams.
Oh.
Oh!
Better keep an eye on this. They're side by side now, Svi and Shad for the top 10.
Shad, though, getting the run. Svi trying to look for a move down the inside as Shad leaves the door open, goes a bit wide. And Svi's going to put it down the inside, but I think Shad's going to have the run out of the corner. And Svi not having that straight line speed is going to have to tuck in behind for slipstream and hope that he can go for a dive into the chicane of Casio Triangle.
Yeah, some questionable lines there from Shad, as I think he probably wouldn't have gotten that good of an exit if he'd stayed within track limits. But it's once again Svi sending it in the inside of the horrible chicane. A lockup from the Merc, who cuts the corner again. Who's going to come out on top on this occasion as Svi almost enters the pit lane.
Svi, though, this time getting a lot better of an exit compared to Shad. But Shad is gaining and gaining. You can see how fast he is in slipstream and being in the Mercedes, he's unable to get there before the first corner. So Svi up into P10.
Yeah, so now that's going to be lots of suffering in dirty air for Shad, so might not be close enough on the next straight to get a move to get back that P10 position, but it's definitely put up a nice fight for us. And I'm sure Mammoth's been enjoying it as well from behind, as his car looks a little beat up, but his pace looks healthy enough with a 54.6 on his previous lap, which puts him level with Fennec in 5th place.
Yeah, so hopefully he'll be gaining on Shad and Svi just up ahead. And yeah, whether those two battling, I mean, those two battling, they were battling quite hard. And I think that's compromised them massively to Wild Mammoth. And I think over those course of 2-3 laps, those two fighting, it's just allowed Wild Mammoth to just gain absolutely rapidly on them.
Yeah, and Mammoth's been taking some good lines as well, really maximizing that hairpin there, whereas I think Shad just going a little too deep on that Mercedes, not agreeing with the corners. And it does look like Svi is too far ahead now to be...
Oh! That's into the wall for Shad and getting a massive snap of what I can presume was oversteer. And, I mean, maybe he doesn't have damage, but that looked like quite the impact.
As Kaiser now looking to have a massive impact on Fennec's race as well. He's in the slipstream heading into turn 1. Is he going to go inside, outside? He picks the outside, but is he going to be able to make a move, stick around there?
Too wide, and I think Ultimate K's thought that Fennec might have overshot it, so backed out a bit.
That's unfortunate there. Of course, you want to go side by side, but the risk of getting the glue effect is just too big, especially when the car on the inside, it doesn't hug that curb like it's his favorite granny. So that does keep Fennec up ahead in P5 for now, but Keza definitely issuing Fennec a warning there with that level of aggression. He's definitely gunning for that P5, and with a little over half the race still left to go, he could still try and catch Tamba as well. He's not too far up the road, especially if he makes a mistake.
Yeah. Looking at the charts, the difference between these two is about 30 odd points, so Fennec still could take Ultimate K's in the championship, but it means that he would have to beat him pretty much in every race by a couple of places, so possibility is still there in that battle for a championship point change.
As seems like Mammoth could be catching Svi anytime soon now that previous lap 3/10 faster, and setting another PB so far on this lap for Mammoth, so definitely trying to recover what's been a pretty awful race for him so far with a top 10 position. But Svi not going to want to be taking that lying down, but Trouble ahead is driving faster than these guys, so it's not going to be easy to try and catch Trouble in the Mercedes, who himself is trying to catch Cuckoo. And I think Cuckoo's probably given up on catching Max at this point, because Max is just pulling away ever so slightly.
Yeah, Max last time with a 154.2, Cuckoo with a 154.4.
Oh, hold on. Gillish has taken P2. When did that happen?
I mean, yeah, Vilside must have made a small mistake last lap, because Gillis's last lap a 153.1, while Vilside's a 153.6, so 5/10 slower than Gillis ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's not enough for an overtake, though. These guys were over a second separated last time I checked, so maybe it even happened a little bit earlier, so I'm sorry for missing that, fellas. But yeah, that is Gillish now in P2. And Veilside with what seems to be slower lap times. Yeah, it might have been at the beginning of this lap, because look, he's 3 seconds off the pace. So we must have just missed that. As Shad is now in the pits with, well, definitely with some damage, but hopefully it's going to be a scheduled stop for tires and fuel or whatever he might need.
Yeah, and that's JD overtaking him from pits. Not from the pits, just overtaking him when Shad is in the pit lane. So I wonder where Shad will be compared to the rest of the grid after pitting. We are getting close to the optimal pit window opening.
And I do wonder if we're going to see Veilside come into the pits anytime soon, considering that we're already seeing Shad in there, and Veilside's had a horrendous lap himself, so this might be the time for fresh tires if he ends up going for that kind of strategy.
Well,
So
I thought he was going to go in there, yeah. Yeah, I've got to say, the last time that Veilside tried a pit where he changed for tyres and Mats didn't, he ended up coming out on top compared to Mats and setting some very fast lap times in the process. Yeah, Mojo saying a little pit tease, as it were. So very much, I think a lot of drivers, especially just how much horsepower these cars have, you want to be accelerating as much as you can, and just you don't want to end up accidentally accelerating into the pit lane, because that could just be a complete different strategy and your pits could not be ready for you. But Wild Mammoth is, whoa, drifting into the side of Svi.
That was an absolute smackdown there. I think Mammoth getting saved by Svi, but also pushing him off the track in the process. So it was a sick drift, but definitely required an assist there from Svi, who does keep that position. So glad we caught that there. That's maybe Mammoth trying to get those drifting sparks from Mario Kart. As, hold on, I think Fennec has just been overtaken by Keza. Coming out of Degna 2, that is a spot where we've seen a lot of mistakes. Unfortunately off camera on this occasion.
As I believe starting from this lap forward, the pit window is going to be open, so we're going to be seeing a lot of drivers looking to potentially pit, whether for tyres or not. Be up to them and their strategy.
Binding is now starting to catch Trickster. He was over a second faster on the previous lap, so this would be pretty easy overtake with that kind of pace differential. So let's just go on board here with the Merc. Let's come into Spoon Corner. Very different approaches there. Binding turning in a little bit earlier than Trickster. I think Trickster just missing his apex there. Turning in very late again. And that really puts Binding in a prime spot for maximum slipstream in one of the most powerful cars as well. Is he going to send it down the inside of 130R? No, the inside's taken, so he goes around the outside.
Oh, too wide through 130R. No contact as well. And heading into the corner hard on the brakes. Has Binding overcooked it? He hasn't. I thought he might have, because he was later, a lot later on the brake compared to Trickster. A bit of contact, though, between Binding and Trickster as... Whoa!
As it seemed like both of them were almost about to enter the pit lane, and I think that's Binding slowing down. Maybe he thinks that was his fault that Trickster went off track. I don't quite think it was, but Trickster definitely giving some appreciative light flashing there. Fascinating stuff. So, yeah, very clean battle at the start. I think Trickster just lost it on his own there. I don't think that was any fault of Binding, but Binding nevertheless lets him through anyway, so we can get some more clean fighting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, shows still some great sportsmanship between these drivers. Yeah,
not being enjoyed by the fans though.
Yeah,
the fans want to see some more cutthroat Binding, I think.
They're saying, for fuck's sake, Binding. But
as Mammoth comes out of the pits behind JD and ahead of Kunisek.
JD though still hasn't pitted, so he might be on a different strategy to Wild Mammoth and Kunisek.
And I think Veilside might have cooked his tires because he is... Well, I'm guessing the timing's a little glitched there because it said he was over half a second slower on the previous lap. Now it says only 2/10, so let's see what it is on this lap.
Oh, he is second behind. I think Gillis, though, setting quite a quick lap, faster than Matt. And the only person in the 52s at all doing a good job trying to bring the pressure to Matt. But 4 seconds behind what is the championship leader. It's going to be hard to put pressure on Matt, even if you are gaining.
Yeah, he's going to have to do those kinds of qualifying laps, lap after lap after lap, if he even wants to get close to Matt's. And that's not even factoring in the dirty air and the fact that he has to overtake him.
Oh, that's a
Trickster,
lockup.
yeah.
That's a lockup for Trickster and doesn't get the best entry into the corner, but Binding getting a bit caught up. Still, though, gaining quite a bit of time on Trickster.
Yeah, that Merc engine bringing him very, very close, but yeah, getting caught out there by that lockup just ahead, and it's already a corner where you can't keep any momentum, but especially when you have to watch out because of some unpredictable lines, that'll definitely screw up your exit. So he's going to have to wait for another opportunity to get by Trickster without making any contact. And I mean, they've definitely got the space to do so. There's no one ahead of them and no one behind them for quite a while. So
I mean, it's like you said earlier as well, with the different lines that they're taking. 2 different cars, so 2 different lines, and maybe one car is better in a different sector compared to another car in another sector. So these two might be setting similar times, but ultimately might be gaining on each other at different spots.
as we're getting some more binding criticism in the chat saying he's too kind while racing, and that's actually something I've heard a lot as well about our local ex-F1 and current FE driver Stoffel Van Dorn. Tends to be a little bit too nice as well, and that does tend to cost him some positions.
Tokugawa saying basically he needs to become more of a Max Verstappen in the
Now
car.
that I do not agree with. As Trickster there having a very squirrely exit, Fennec coming into the pits for a scheduled stop around about the halfway point in this race. Binding though in the slipstream is getting very close, looking to the inside, but he's gonna have to stay behind.
Having to lift. It looks like Trickster didn't. Going into the heavy braking zone.
And Trouble and Speed joining Fennec in the pits as well, so definitely having that pit window open now makes you wonder who's going to come out on top, who's going to be pitting 4 tires, because we've seen a lot of different strategies this season continuously. And Binding now an even more slipstream. He's got a good chance to send it up the inside. Trickster doesn't defend it.
Down the inside, and we actually get a good camera angle for once. And that is going to be
about to
Binding.
disappear as the next building comes into view.
Binding up into P8.
And Fennec comes out of the pits with Trouble not too far behind him, but JD is going to come out really, really, really close to Fennec. But he stays behind 4 now.
Whoa, getting quite a snap of oversteer there.
And seems Cook is actually caught back up to Max, so this is one of the earlier fights in this race. Seems to be reignited, but with all of these cars pitting, might not last for too much longer unless they go for a similar pit strategy, of course.
I must say as well, Cook are nailing their exit, but being in that Nissan, they just can't gain that much on Max.
And Valeside is the first of the top 3 to come in, so yeah, definitely acknowledging that those tires do seem to be well and truly shot, and hoping to get an undercut on Gillish. But yeah, he's lost a lot of time already, so we'll see how effective that turns out to be.
Also, I think Cuckoo and Max, if I'm seeing... No, sorry, I was looking at...
Max
oh, yeah,
Pitts.
they were as Max Pitts.
So Max coming in there for some fresh armpits as JD still chasing down Fennec, so maybe Fennec not on fresh tires. He definitely doesn't seem to have that much pace over JD, as Valeside should be coming out of the pits any moment now. And Binding is the next car on track, just coming out of the final corner. Valeside already at the pit exit. Yeah, he's going to come out well ahead of the Mercedes driver.
I think JD still very close to the back, and that's a mistake by Fennec, and that's going to allow JD to potentially make a move.
Good recovery by Fennec. I did not expect him to still be ahead after that corner.
Yeah, went very deep, and I thought JD could have easily gone around the outside, but Fennec absolutely, yeah, as you said, getting amazing exit and just recovering that position in absolute style.
As I think Kunicek has just overtaken Shad for last place, so Shad struggling in that Mercedes this race, although it doesn't seem to be damaged, so hopefully keeping it out of the wall so far in this race, and it seems like the field is starting to bunch up a bit.
As Matt pits from the lead, it's a new leader, it's Gillis who takes the lead. Someone also saying in the chat that Gillis still catching.
Last lap a 53 flat, and for Mats it was a 53.8, so yeah, definitely good pace. That may be why Mats is coming in before Gillish, And we'll just have to wait and see what they do strategy-wise. Now, the real question is, where is Matt's going to come out compared to Veilside? Matt's currently still in his pit box as Cuckoo joins him in the pit lane.
What I do wonder is, are we going to get a Gillish special where Gillis doesn't pit until the last few laps, like just for fuel, and then or just tries to go the entire way?
Well, that would be absolutely extraordinary, as Matt's now coming out of the pit lane, well ahead of his teammate, but that gap does seem to be smaller than it was before the pit stop. So I think if Gillish ends up going for the same things that they got in the pit lane, I think Veilside's definitely got an undercut there. So I think Gillish is going to have to go for the alternate strategy, whatever that may be. Cuckoo's still in the pit lane, about to come out. Behind Max, though. So Max, it seems like the undercut's quite powerful around here. Even losing a position to Fennec, and oh, JD really close there with Mammoth just behind. Things are spicing up in the midfield.
Battling. JD still to take a pit stop, I believe, and I think Wild Mammoth has, so not going to be very happy with Wild Mammoth is. But JD not a lapped car, so he has to battle his way through.
Yeah, no, I believe he's not pitted yet. Definitely still on a pretty decent pace with whatever tires he started on. Fighting with Mammoth, definitely not a slouch of a driver, so good performance by JD so far, as he does touch the gravel a bit. Oh no!
Oh god, what have you done, Martin?
It's a direct curse, as the driver ahead seems to be affected by it too. That's Cuckoo completely missing their apex, as Tomba now comes into the pits. Which leaves Gillish and Keza as our new current top two. But yeah, we gotta keep our eyes on some of these guys, because they are doing some crazy stuff on track at the moment.
Yeah, as we get some information from Brick saying Gillis doing a 1:53.1 last lap. Seems pretty quick indeed, especially this far in the race where he's on used tyres and hasn't pitted yet. So whether he can keep up that stamina and try and last it in front of Matt and potentially try to go for some strategic genius against the current championship leader, we will have to see.
I'm not sure if that's a telltale sign of a Gillish special, though, because what needs to happen for that is he has to drive extra slowly to make it on fuel, remember?
Yeah, that is very true indeed, but who knows with the calculations of Gillis. But yeah, you are right, we probably will see Gillis pit, but probably just for fuel, because I think it is too late now to swap for tyres. At least it's not optimal to swap for tyres.
As Trickster has pitted, and he's going to be coming out quite far behind the rest of the field. He's overtaken by Kunisek now, and Shad is going to be there as well, but Shad's just been lapped by Gillish, so that has taken 19 laps to happen. Our first lap driver being Shad, and now Trickster as well, coming out of the pits. Mammoth dropping away a little bit from the back of Cuckoo. And Cuckoo getting a little bit closer to Fennec and Max, so this group could start to converge, and we could have a pretty nice fight on our hands.
Yeah, Cuckoo 5 temps on their PB as well, so they're absolutely going to be on a roll. Hoping to potentially make some moves up. Svi as well, yeah.
This is a big group of cars for me. We got Max, Fennec, Cuckoo, Mammoth, Trouble, and Svi all within about 10 seconds of each other.
Those who voted for a safety car once again are going to be smiling a bit, as it is still a small possibility. As it seems through this corner that a lot of cars seem to be unintentionally drifting it, because it is 100% slower, but you still have to try and bring some of that momentum through the corner if you want to be quick.
Yeah, absolutely, and it definitely seems like Svi in particular has been drifting in a lot of these corners, so that may not be doing his tires any good. Could explain why he's still down in P12 despite that good pace earlier in the race. But yeah, this fight they're still all a little bit separated, but it's definitely got the ingredients of a good fight brewing, as we see Cuckoo improving their PB by 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, Fennec doing a 154.4 last now. Meanwhile, Cuckoo doing a 152.9, almost a second and a half quicker than Fennec. So the pressure is going to be on Fennec. Max getting a bit away that lap from Fennec. So Fennec might be trying to push just to get Max back into the battle. But Cuckoo doing a good job in that Nissan.
As it seems like the timings are a little bit confused with our leader now coming into the pits. And yeah, Gillish was losing about a second a lap to Mats and Vilside respectively, so we'll see if Keza decides to follow him in. No, he stays out, so we have another new leader in this race. Ultimate Keza leading for the first time in quite a while, it seems, as Vilside and Mats now coming through the final sector, almost certainly going to be coming out ahead of Gillish. And the question is, when is Binding gonna pit? Because he has worked it back up to P5, but I don't think he's done so by going to the pit lane.
I mean, he might have pitted earlier. I can't properly recall.
Well, he dropped down to last place after a spin, remember?
Yeah. As Gillis Homan leaving the pit lane in 4th place. Got quite a way to go if he wants to regain that P3 position.
Yeah,
from Vilside.
He's not made it easy for himself. He's got to catch up to the top 3 again and re-overtake some cars. So he's given himself a lot of extra work there. Not sure if the tire advantage is worth it, because it's not going to be as extreme as we've seen in some other races, but we're just going to have to wait and see as this fight does start to converge a little bit more in phases, as I think...
Oh, and that's a mistake.
Yeah, that is Fennec going quite deep there with the back end, maybe suffering from dirty air from Max, and Cuckoo definitely getting ever closer and behind Trouble and Mammoth. I think Mammoth might have just overtaken Trouble actually on that previous lap. So that's I could bring these guys even closer to the pack just ahead, as Fee struggling to get close, but definitely still within view as JD now enters the pit lane as well.
Yeah, but this is hopefully we won't see too much contact between some of the cars as we go.
Alright, mister, I'm smiling because there almost might be a safety car.
Well, I'm pretty sure quite a bit of people voted for there being a safety car. So I prefer to for people to steal each other's points, especially when there's more on the line. Widow has been gaining and over last lap and the lap before. I think that battle seems to be inevitable between Cuckoo and Fennec.
Yeah, the timing's actually glitching there. It says that Cuckoo's ahead of Fennec time-wise, even though position-wise it says Fennec's ahead. Just
Playing
MS2
a bit of a
things.
factor.
They all converge in the braking zone.
Extremely close between this and P7. Trouble might be able to get a better exit. You can see how much Wildman is struggling there on exit. And
yeah, absolutely fishtailing like a salmon, and now the Merc's got all the slipstream he wants.
Trouble looking for a move. Does he go to the right? No, he stays behind, going into the corner. You saw how much Wildman was struggling with grip there. So can the Trouble... Still, he's still gaining through the corners, but he's going to be stuck in dirty air going through these S's, but it hasn't hindered him one bit. He's taken a bit of a different line to Wild Mammoth, and that seems to give him a little bit of an advantage, as they're almost too wide coming out of the S's. It looked like there was contact, but I'm hoping that was just desync, as Trouble getting an amazing exit off the corner. Can he look for a move going into this fast right hand corner? They're too wide going into it.
As he's definitely pushing Mammoth to the absolute limit of what those tires will offer him. This back end is all over the place. I think Trouble may have fresh tires because he has all the grip in the world right now. And he's sliding sideways around the outside in the hairpin, trying to go for a switchback now with much more traction. This overtake is only a matter of time if they can keep it out of each other.
Yeah, and Trouble once again going to be in slipstream and has that top end power. He's going to be once again stuck on the outside going through Spoon, and he's going to be forced out a bit wide, but all legal. And what Mammoth, probably, you can see how much his tail's got wide, but nowhere for Trouble to go as they head towards 130R. Trouble getting the inside line, has the straight line speed. Can he get it before 130R? His car's ahead going into 130R, but Wild Mammoth holding it around the outside and keeping it in front going into the corner.
You know, I think the most impressive thing there was the fact that Mammoth kept that within track limits. That was millimeters away from going wide.
Wild Mammoth once again getting tail happy. That allows Trouble to get a better exit. Wild Mammoth defending the inside, but can Trouble get the momentum out the corner? It's once again too wide. When is it going to stop? Going into...
I hope it doesn't.
Turn 1. These guys have been side by side for quite a while. A bit of contact down. Looking like maybe a bit of desync, more like. But Wild Mammoth holding on for another lap, even though he has that absolute tail-happy McLaren.
Seems that Cuckoo is ahead of Fennec now. I'm not sure if that was an overtake we missed or what, but yeah, this battle has been too good to take our eyes off of, so Trouble trying everything he can to get by Mammoth. Mammoth pulling out every trick in the book to stay ahead with tires that do not seem like they have any right to live at this point anymore. Sliding out of every single corner. And who's that on the side of the track?
I think that's JD.
It is, and JD I think is a lap down on every other car now. Maybe the driver's just ahead, but he is minutes away from the rest of the field now. Something really bad must have happened to poor JD.
Fortunate there.
And actually Svi is starting to get close to these guys now as well, because they've been fighting so hard.
This is where Trouble is the fastest on the circuit. Can he get the exit that he ever so needs? He can't. He's drifted a bit wide. Maybe Trouble's tires starting to play an effect now in this, or maybe the dirt, yeah, starting to get a bit worse.
It could well be, because I think there's a part where when you're literally right behind the car ahead, the dirt air is a little bit less bad than if you're just maybe about half a second behind it, which is where he is right now. So now they're going through the worst corner again. Takes quite a... oh, but just loses the rear end, and that's killed his exit. Maybe, yeah, Svi is even closer to Trouble now than Trouble is to Mammoth, so... definitely seems like Trouble is going to be taking his time getting by Mammoth if he actually gets by at all. So let's quickly just take a look at the cars up ahead. Fennec not too far behind Cuckoo, and I think Cuckoo did overtake Fennec, because that last lap was a full second slower for Fennec, even though he's only a couple tenths behind. So that seems like Cuckoo has made an overtake and is now hunting for Max just up ahead. Only 1/10 faster on the previous lap. It's going to take more than that to get an overtake done.
Yeah, Svido gaining quite a bit of confidence, it seems, in his Porsche. And sliding it through the corner has been gaining on Trouble. And these two aren't battling now, so gaining just in pace in general. Last lap, Trouble doing a 155 pretty much. And Svi doing a 153.
Speaking of 53s, Keza comes into the pits while setting them. So it's going to be interesting to see where he comes out. Binding still in P5 as well. I think he may be one of the last cars not to pit yet. And just looking at the lap times of the top drivers, we got a 52.7 from Matt. 2/10 faster for his teammate. And another 2/10 faster for Gillish. So these guys are starting to close up ever so slightly. There's still about 8 laps to go. It's gonna take more than that to bring those guys completely together in a fight, as Binding now comes in after Keza.
Yeah, I think pretty much everyone at this point has in fact pitted. So after we see Binding leave his pit stop, that will be the running order to the end, unless we see someone crash.
Yeah, and I'm kind of shocked to see Trouble struggling this much now, because it seemed like he had all the grip in the world when he was fighting Mammoth a second ago. And now he's just stuck in the gap that seems to be staying around about the same size. As Bindings come out just behind this fighting pair, so if he's got fresh tires, he could be a factor in this one too.
Yeah, indeed, but with 7 laps remaining, he won't have too much time to gain. But one. Hope that Bunny can push his way up into that top 10% position.
I just hope it's not a literal push with someone flying off the track. But speaking of off the track, though, we haven't had a single person leave the session ever since we said that we wouldn't have any more disconnects. So may we have cursed ourselves as commentators.
I mean, the commentator's curse is very, very strong, so I wouldn't quite say that yet, especially due to the fact it could be heartbreaking towards the end now that we've doubled down on it, essentially.
Commentator's blessing, I like it. As Cuckoo now pretty close to the back of Max, so an attack could be there at any time. Now Fennec has completely dropped off the back of these two, so he is no factor in this fight as things stand. But quickly gonna double check on the other fight because Speed pretty close to trouble, but he's never gonna be catching that Merc on the straight. So back to Cuckoo for now, into the braking zone of the worst corner on the track.
That seems to be where Cuckoo is gaining the most time on Max, into the braking zones. Because Max being in the faster portion of straight line, still under threat. As Mojo also saying, now you've tempted a worldwide internet crash. Oh god, I hope if you hear me disconnect at any point, we know why.
For a second when you were silent after saying that, I thought you were faking a disconnect. No, but I have had a disturbingly large amount of moments where your connection seems to have died, and I just keep commentating for like 2 minutes, and nobody hears what I'm saying because the stream's dead.
I mean, yeah, Discord, yeah, been playing up with us. Especially, I think, in the last race you commentated, I remember that being quite an interesting one, but luckily I don't think it's been as bad as that one. So if it's not
I said we should move back to Skype, and as soon as I said that, Discord got attacked straight again.
Yeah. It understands. Fee missing his apex a bit there, but I think Trouble just losing it a bit, so both making small mistakes, not gaining time on each other, but Cuckoo definitely gaining time on Max. They're all up in their slipstream, and we could see a potential move coming soon. Once again, you can see Cuckoo gaining on the brakes.
Yeah, just attacking the corners a lot more, it seems, and that car of Max is just really, really slidey on exit, which is not going to help him on the straight. That's where Cuckoo has a good chance of getting close enough to send it up the inside of the horrible chicane.
Gaining in the slipstream. Might we see a move going into the chicane of Casio Triangle?
Not quite. It seems like Max is pretty good on the brakes himself, but he goes too deep. I mean, he's gaining an advantage there. He's gonna have to slow down for that.
Yeah, and indeed, and I hope he does. But that is going to be another commentator curse.
And yeah, good spot there. Brix Gillish has been getting very, very close to Veilside, and only 5 laps left in this race. That could end up being a last lap battle for P2.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, the last lap battles as well, probably the most interesting to watch, because that's where we'll see. Oh!
That's Mammoth in the wall. Unfortunately, didn't quite catch what caused that, but yeah, that puts Binding back into P11 and Mammoth in P12 with a damaged car. I'd imagine he's going to try and hold on for the next 5 laps, but if he's going to be able to stay ahead of Kunishek and Shad, that is going to be the big question, because they are not too far behind, and that car does look pretty damaged to me. Sfido still behind Trouble, who's now no longer fighting with Mammoth.
The last lap, these two pretty much equaling their lap time, so just staying in with staying within each other's range to attack. So one mistake between those two could mean the difference between getting overtake or being able to defend for longer.
Speaking of mistake, if Mats even has a single spin, he could lose the lead, because the top 3 are within 7 seconds of each other.
Yeah, indeed. There's Veilside doing a 52.6 and Gillis doing a 52.5. So Vilside seems to have increased his pace there.
As there's a real tank slapper coming out of that corner there. Max has no exit speed. Cuckoo's got all the slipstream going around the outside now. Into turn 1.
Trying to force Max narrow, coming around the corner. Nissan versus Porsche. Can Cuckoo try and make it around all the way around the outside? And it looks like they have.
Outstanding move there from Cuckoo for P6. May well be their last move of the race though, because Tomba is simply too far ahead. But Max, getting very, very close there to Cuckoo, not wanting to give up that position. So gonna be fighting it to the very end, but yeah, the dirty air is gonna make that very, very difficult indeed. So let's quickly double check on Svi, still behind. Trouble keeping that other car behind, but Svi back in the top 10 now. 4 seconds ahead of Binding, who does not seem to be catching them. And Mammoth does keep it out on track, so he is gonna be losing time now. But he's gonna try and stay ahead of the other cars that are roughly 10 to 20 seconds behind for the next 4 laps.
Is one of Mammoth's cars electric? Because I can barely hear the engine on this thing. There we go. I was like, where's the, he's not driving like a Nissan or something. Where the engine noise is quite low, but Svi, gaining massively on trouble and properly up in the slipstream now, so this is going to help him massively on trying to make an overtake.
Yes, as I'm quickly double checking on some other fights and going back to Svi now, but it's just, Svi is not fast enough on the straights to go for any kind of move. He needs the car ahead to make a mistake, or he's not going to be able to get anything done.
Brick saying trackside cam even worked. I can't believe it, neither can I. But let's hope that Svi can make... Oh no, that's a Brick's curse right there. It's gone back to shambles. Absolutely back to shambles. As Svi getting... Whoa! Extremely close into the braking zone. Svi having to lock up and brake a bit harder. It may be trouble suffering with braking quite a bit. It seems like over the course of these last couple laps, we've seen some drivers really confident on their brakes, maybe having a bit more grip, and able to brake later. And some drivers might have used their tyres a bit earlier and now are struggling to get their car stopped.
I mean, as Svi slides through turn 1, I'm sure Trouble used plenty of his tires trying to get by Mammoth earlier, who is setting 56s now, only about a second lap slower than Kuni behind, so he's poised to maintain that position if he can keep that car on track. But it seems like the top 3 have kind of stabilized a bit, so that's not looking too good for our top 3 fight, because every single one of those guys has just set a 52.4 on their last lap.
Yeah, I think this battle with 3 laps remaining, I think Svi is going to try and push it, but the harder he pushes, the more chance of him making a spin as we inspect this amazing raked gravel.
Yeah, so we just got to make sure that the track is still FIA grade 1 for every lap. Someone might have changed the gravel while we weren't looking.
Yeah, I must admit, as much this just like this track being non-existent, so are the cameramen.
Camera AI now, they've all been replaced. But Gillish has got Veilside by half a second on that previous lap.
In fact, next time we hop to Trouble and Svi battling, let's try the track cam, and I'll try to manually do it. See if we can hold on. Oh, that's someone else. As we're now watching it, Svi getting very close. Bringing it to the next camera. As Svi needing to get the better exit. It looks like he is going to be tucking up all into the slipstream as we see them head down the back straight. On Martin's point of view, he can probably only see rocks. As we head into... This is an amazing camera. Where's this camera been all race?
Well, I think it's trying to do that just in the wrong corners when there's a building in the way.
As we do hit a weird camera.
Oh, there's a mountain there. Oh, that was a nice one. Okay, can you go back to the drone camera again?
The drone... Well, I can go for a panning shot camera.
No, I need that... Yeah, this one. This one that floats around the car.
Svi very much trying to gain number 12. We can do a proper like interview thing here. You can just see the S tier livery of that Cobra.
It's a little bold. I would have given it an A, but fair enough.
Well, you weren't there for the tier list, so you can't.
Well, excuse me for tier listing the entire country of Japan instead.
But I think Svi has lost about 2 seconds in the time that we've been talking, and that could be his potential P9, well, race for P9 over.
Very unfortunate. Svi fell off. Now let's go back to Shad and P14, getting a little bit closer to Kunisek. Could well be a last lap fight here as well. He was almost a second faster on the previous lap, but he's going to need to get better exits than that. Really fighting the car there and keeping it on track, so hats off to him for that. But yeah, to overtake, you need to have perfect exits, especially when your opponent is not making the same mistakes, at least as far as we can see so far. Maybe he's making all of his mistakes off camera, we just don't know.
Yeah. But I think, yeah, Kunisek and Shad, 2 different sides of a coin. But talking about 2 different sides of a coin, it's Gillis versus Veilside. These cars only separated by about a second, so one small mistake from Veilside could easily mean that Gillis could massively gain and potentially make a move in this second last, which could come to a final lap overtake.
Meanwhile, Binding has lost a lot of time on the previous lap. He set a 2:02, which almost cost him his position to Mammoth behind with the broken car. Not quite sure what happened there, but it sounds embarrassing. As we're seeing Gillish get very, very close to Veilside once again, now for the final lap as Mats crosses the line. Just up the road, only 4 seconds ahead of these guys.
Yeah, white flag getting waved. And yeah, Gillis going to be trying to push to get that P3. It looks like he has the momentum. I mean, last lap he was about 0.6 quicker than Veilside. And I think the most, the best place to go for an overtake is in Sector 3. So if Gillis can gain that time in Sector 3, we might see a battle or at least a overtake going into the final sector. Gillis properly pushing the car. He wants that P2 position.
And the thing is, too, this is what he sacrificed his track position for, to have fresher tires at the end of the race. You can see Veilside sliding a little bit, a lot of curb. It's making him vulnerable for an attack in Sector 3. Still, though, Gillish giving himself a really, really tall order here with this kind of strategy. Is he going to be able to make a move anywhere on the remaining part of the track? They're about halfway through the lap now.
This is the place where we're going to be seeing overtakes, but Gillis still quite far and needs to gain crucial time going through spoons if he wants any chance to look for an overtake on Veilside. Getting a bit of a better run through spoons, up in the slipstream now. He's a bit too far ahead, so I don't know if he's going to be able to make a move.
Yeah, I'll just stay on board here now. Veilside trying to break the slipstream, not doing it too much though, so definitely not breaking any rules, but goes a little, no, keeps it within track limits, and now it's going to be either send it or not. He goes as deep as he can on the brakes, and he's going to have to hope for a mistake from Veilside now, but it doesn't seem to be coming. And he's right at the back of that car, but he's too late as Mats wins the race yet again, followed by his teammate Veilside bringing it home in P2. Gillish in 3rd place as Veilside celebrates with some flashing lights. Keza, the next car to come through the final sector, to go through that horrific corner for a final time. Does not make a meal out of it and comes across the line in P4 as well. Nothing can stop him now. Tomba, just 6 seconds down the road. Seems like a very small 6 seconds because he's not that far behind. In P5, Cuckoo, fairly lonely at this stage in the race, comes home in P6 going through that awful corner yet again. Max, not too far behind, in 7th. And I think the battle between Svi and Trouble could be over unless we see another mistake here. Of course, Fennec finishing between Max and Trouble in P8. Yeah, it's just, oh, it's a tricky exit for Trouble.
I think
Not tricky enough to give Svi what he needs.
And if it wasn't for that mistake all those laps ago, I think Svi could have made the move, but it's not going to be. And it is going to be Binding finishing 11th.
And Mammoth just behind, but Kunisek and Shad are still fighting it out in the final sector for P13 with Trickster and JD still behind, although I think JD is already finished on a different lap, so this is going to be the last battle we see tonight on track. No one's really sending it too crazily, but a big lockup from Shad just ahead. That gives Kunisek a lot of extra time to get close into the slipstream, but he just knock off the exit speed to go for another move. And that is Shad across the line in 13th, followed by Kunisek. And a little bit further down the road, you've got Trickster in 15th. And the last to cross the line. No, JD's actually right behind, just on a different lap. So JD will be the final car to cross the line in last place. But brings it home nonetheless. No other disconnects. So we finished the race with all the people that we started with.
Yeah, indeed, and what a race at the end. The top three, only about 5 seconds at the end separating them, and especially between Gillis and Vealside, only about 3/10 separating them. And yeah, what a race. Ultimate K is doing a good job, gaining about, I believe, 3 or 4 positions over the course of the race, and Tom Hawks holding P5, Cuckoo in P6, Max in P7, Fennec in P8, Trouble in P9, Feet in P10, Binding in P11, Wild Mammoth in P12, Dad in P13, Kunisek in P14, Trickster in P15, and JD P16. Everyone doing one stops.
Now, I've already looked into some of the driver chatter after the race. It seems like Gillish went for the strange decision to underfuel the car and give himself a longer pit stop. Now, I know in real life there's a lot of situations where they put less fuel in the car and that it's actually going to make you a bit faster, but this doesn't seem to translate over to most sims out there, at least not in my experience. So both Veilside and Matt saying that they started with a full tank of fuel, and it does seem to have been the better option. So that may have made the difference in tonight's fight for P2.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, what if he didn't? What if he did put a bit more fuel in? The strategy though in favor of Vealside at the end of it all. Look into the interview chat. Well, it seems like Binding is already ready in there, so I wonder, should we start with the interviews then?
Hold on, my Twitch is glitching. It's not letting me scroll through. Yeah, let's go ahead and bring in Binding, who is questioning what in the world an anime is.
Oh God! Why was there no one else in the Ready to Interview channel? I'm like the most mediocre person that you could have picked up here. Hello.
Well, you definitely had not the most mediocre race. Plenty of action in there for you. Why don't you tell us how much you enjoyed the battles, and you can talk about the incidents after.
I spun.
I said after, Binding.
I spun. That's the only thing of note, really, other than a small battle with a Porsche. That was it. That was my entire race. I spun once and spent the rest of the race recovering, basically.
Well, aside from that spin and the battle, it did seem like you had some pretty good pace. How much practice did you put in?
A couple of laps yesterday in time trial, and then today.
Well, so not too much practice, but definitely doing well. I mean, doing well pace-wise on a track where the Merc is not necessarily one of the strongest cars, so hats off to you for that. But we did see some criticism addressed to you in the chat during the race. Can you guess what that was for?
Andrew. It was Andrew, wasn't it? I'm calling it now. That bastard, I swear to God, I'm going to find him.
But can you guess what the criticism was for?
Was it for... Okay, which session was it in? The race?
The race.
Race.
Okay. My only idea was maybe when I thought I pushed the Porsche off, so I let him by again.
Exactly. He said you were far too kind.
Was I too kind, though? Because I thought I pushed him off.
Well, we actually saw that incident on the stream, and you were not to blame for that.
Oh shit. Oh well, that's second, sorry.
Well, you definitely gave us a good battle to watch at the least.
Yeah, we just got a fresh comment there from Tokugawa saying, ask him why he slowed to let the guy who killed himself back past him, and then a laughing emoji.
Because I thought I pushed him off. I didn't realize he'd pushed himself off.
Yeah, I think you were pretty much as far right on the track as you could go, and he steered into you because he lost the back end. But yeah, nevertheless, it was a very clean fight between you two before that, so that was what we do love to see. Qualifying higher than Cuckoo, how does that make you feel?
I felt like qualifying was okay. Honestly, I was very close to the top guys. If I didn't fuck up my final lap, I might have been at least P5, maybe P4.
Oh yeah, we did actually notice that your lap time was about 10 seconds slower, or maybe a little bit less, but still quite significant. Did you have another spin there, or what happened?
What in I can't actually remember what I did on my last lap. I think I think it was a spin. Yeah,
Okay, so that means you did 2 spins this race.
3. I spanned at the end as well. Didn't lose any position from it because Mammoth was just far enough behind.
Yeah, Mammoth driving with a pretty broken car after something happened while fighting with trouble, so I'm gonna have to see what happened there in the interviews. But yeah, anything else you'd like to tell the adoring fans, Binding, before we let you go?
Andrew, I'm gonna kill you next race Wednesday. Watch yourself, motherfucker.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yes.
We're teammates in that league as well.
Ah. So,
No, it's whatever. I don't know. I'm a little frustrated with myself because I'm showing that. I swear to God, I'm showing that I at least can be competent. But then when I'm at this speed, I make so many little mistakes, and it slowly builds up, and I just pirouette off the track at some point.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it does happen sometimes, but who knows? Maybe one day you'll be racing in real life, and then it'll have some bigger consequences. But yeah, we'll have to wait and
Are
see.
you implying I'm going to kill myself during a race?
No, I'm implying you might kill other people doing it.
I mean, the
Jesus
next race is Spa in the rain, so
Alright,
anything's
that's it.
possible.
I'm going to make Le Mans look like a fucking joke.
Oh, gosh. Well, we're gonna let you go before we commit any more atrocities on this stream. So thanks for coming on, Binding.
Cuckoo's in the ready to interview. Drag her
Oh,
in.
should we bring him in? Should we bring in the Binding Cuckoo
Brilliant.
special?
Drag him in. You. I asked them to bring you in before they threw me away.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Hi. Yes. How was your race then, Cuckoo?
It was pretty good, actually. It was pretty good.
That's good. That's good. I spun and died.
Yeah, I saw. That was very sad.
It was very sad. Yes.
I cried a single tear.
It was truly tragic.
A singular tear.
I was mourning.
Nismo,
I mourned, and then I moved on.
Nismo, shush! I'm the commentator now. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll just I'll just sit back and relax.
Okay, no. If you guys want, I can head off now. It's up to you two.
Ask Cuckoo one more question.
Ask away.
Oh, want me to ask you another question? Okay. What was your tire strategy then? Because I changed mine mid-race.
Hard soft.
I just went hard. I did not change.
Soft. I came in on like lap 18, 19 or something.
Yeah, so you came in a lot earlier than I thought you was going to. So I went until the end of my fuel stint, and I just.
Well, I'd actually worked it out. Is switching onto the softs was quicker than staying on the hards, but only if you did like about 12-ish or more laps on them.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of stop around then, and then everyone else started stopping around me, and I wasn't sure if the undercut was better or the overcut. So I went one extra lap than Max, who I'd been battling at that point, and yeah, it turns out the undercut was better because they came out ahead of me. Or sorry, I came out behind them even.
That sounds like a skill issue, truly.
Yeah, you haven't seen what I did after that.
Yeah, now, Cuckoo, we've actually been asked by a member of the chat, why did you really brake check that one guy in the hairpin?
One guy in the head. Are they referring to the little tap I had with Svi, or?
Possibly. I'm actually not sure myself.
I don't know. I don't recall brake checking anyone, but I do recall moving over.
Now, you also mentioned earlier that
I think me and Svi have already talked about it. I think that I said I wasn't sure if I moved too late or something.
Well, one thing I can tell you is that Fennec is a big fan of your work. As he says, 10 out of 10 overtakes from Cuckoo. I have another question for you, though. Is you mentioned you shed a singular tear earlier. What would it have taken for you to shed a second one?
Probably if he'd rejoined unsafely and taken me out, although it would probably be more than another one.
All right, noted, noted.
Cuckoo, something I do have to. Ooh, something I do have to ask is with you having such good races on Kansai, it appears, and absolutely amazing battles. Which one did you prefer, the V10 battles or the GT1 battles?
I don't know. I think I had to work harder for it in this one, to be honest.
Golly
It's,
gee, I wonder why.
It was I was kind of nowhere on the hards a bit, and then yeah, I spent most of my first stint bottled up behind Max, and then obviously I went on to the softs, and it was a bit of a disaster. I came out behind Max and Phoenix, who we'd caught up to as well before the pit stops. So that was a bit of a disaster as I came out behind all of them, and then I had to catch back up to them and overtake them to get the position. It was round the outside twice of turn 1.
Yeah,
It's
we
pretty
witnessed that move. Seems like quite your favorite. I think I remember seeing a couple moves of people. At least I remember in the V10 league, a lot of people going around the outside there. Yeah, doing an amazing overtake.
It was extremely on edge.
Yeah, you should go and watch that back on stream. It was quite nice.
I'm fast forwarding through the replay at the moment actually to go and find it.
Yeah, Binding,
it was very difficult.
Binding, can you give Cuckoo one tip to improve their next race next week?
That's a great question. Well, for one, don't drive a bloody Nissan, you psychopath. That would be my main recommendation. Why would you pick the Nissan, you absolute masochist?
Best car.
That has been Tips with Binding this week. Thanks for coming on, Binding.
Best car.
I don't have a genuine
Anyone that
tip
drives a
because
Nissan is a psychopath.
she did beat me this race, so I don't know why you want me to give her a tip. I mean, I guess
You still owe me that battle, Binding. I was really looking forward to catching up to you, and then you just decided to turn into a Beyblade.
Oh,
yes, it was. I did indeed. I don't know about Spa, because Spa I feel like you're going to get absolutely fucking annihilated because of the straight.
I don't know. I reckon I might be able to mix it up.
Maybe. I feel like the Mercedes should be okay on that. Don't quote me on that if I do.
I'll hold you to this next week.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I thank you both for coming on. We've got some people in there that are aging in the ready for interview room. So hopefully,
ask Trouble why he didn't crash into speed for me.
I'll make note of that. So thanks for coming on, fellas. Hope to see you guys again next week, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Rest of the season, it's one race, Martin.
Yeah.
What do you mean the rest of the season?
It's all to play for.
I just wanted to finish ahead Trouble, so I might have a chance of beating him in the standings, but that's not going to happen. Maybe I'll have to check. But either way, I'll see you guys later.
All right, have a good one.
Au reservoir. Thank you for having us back.
Thanks for coming on. Now let's go ahead and bring in the Cheese Man.
Cheese Man, Ultimate Kaza.
Welcome, Cheese Man. Now, as the one responsible for a lot of the things that go on in the league, can you tell us a bit more about what happened at the start? Because we had a lot of restarts there.
Yeah, so the first time we restarted, like just before the race started, Ellie and Svi dropped out. That we didn't get a response from Ellie until after the race started, but apparently there were some personal things going on, and for Svi, his internet was gone, apparently because his mom unplugged the router. Yeah, and the second time, Binding's controls didn't work. And so everybody, like, actually Tombo made the call and asked if we want to restart again for Binding. And so we did it once more, but then we said, yes, but it's going to really be the final time. And then Jetlin actually wasn't in the correct car. And Exit actually forgot to ready up. So the last race start, it actually was kind of a skill issue, I guess. So yeah, we decided not to restart once more because, you know, we already were delayed by 15 minutes or something or more. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's quite unfortunate there, but I guess Excess with all those times that he readies up at the last second, it was going to happen at some point.
Mm.
You had a pretty good race, though. Tell us about that. Did you have good fights, or was it mostly on the strategy that you finished that high?
I don't think I had really any fights except for maybe lap 1, and I actually made the call to go on hards and not change tires. So yeah, I didn't have enough time to test, so it all was kind of a guess. But in the end, it actually turned out the way I expected. Fennec really struggling on his tires in front of me towards the end of the stint, actually going off the track, allowing me past. And for the last 6 or 7 laps of his stint, I also pretty much matched Tomba's times on the softs. And yeah, with how long these tire changes last, it just gave me the edge. And was, I think, before the pit stop was about, before Tomba pitted, I was about 8 seconds or 9 seconds behind him. At the end of the race, I was, I think, 8 seconds in front of him.
Yeah, that is quite the advantage there.
Yeah, like hards really worked well. I was a bit concerned in the beginning because I was about 1.3 seconds slower on the hards than on the softs. But the like difference between the tires, I think, was smaller on low fuel and pretty much non-existent once the softs started to wear out. So yeah, was the right call in the end.
Yeah,
Gained
sounds
me
like
at
the
least
tires
2
are.
position, I guess.
Sounds like the tires are working as intended for once. So good to hear that. And now we are getting fairly close to the end of the season, as I have been informed by some of our drivers. So just to reflect on it a little bit, what's been one of your favorite moments so far this season?
I mean, for me, definitely Le Mans, because I got the strategy absolutely right there. Was leading. I mean, it was unfortunate with the server drop in the end, but
So the strategy was to pull the plug on the server. I see.
yeah. I mean, I think I would have had the win even without the server issues. But yeah, like I was really surprised. I was pretty much out of the championship fight before. I think I'm still out of it, to be honest. But I think I should have a really good shot for P3 at the moment with that good result in Le Mans, especially because that one isn't part of the drop results. I still think the championship is wide open. We would need to check on like how many points everyone drops, but I think Mats potentially drops more points than Waleside. So, and with Waleside finishing P2 in Le Mans, while Mats only was like P6 or something, this could be a very, very close championship fight between those two. Yeah, we'll have to see what Spa brings.
Yeah, definitely harkens back to the old days of F1 where not all races would count towards the championship, and that's going to be an interesting calculation there. Very, very close between those teammates as well. Are you looking forward to the fight in the final race? Who do you think is going to be fighting for the top 5 spots?
I mean, to be honest, it is the same guy as always, right? So if
Well,
every
it's
one
been
of them,
a little bit varied this season, especially for the lower parts of the top 5.
yeah. But to be honest, I know that Tomba loves Spa. I expect him to be very strong there if the Nissan gives him the pace to do that. Gillis, Mats, Waleside is a no-brainer, and yeah, I hope I can be in that top 5, obviously. But Fennec or Binding or like with his quali pace, at least 3 definitely has a good shot there. But we're also gonna have the wet part, which I usually like. So yeah, let's see. Everything's open. The drop results, it's gonna make things exciting as well. So this is gonna be a really nice season final, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully the cameras on that track work a bit better than the ones on this one, because we saw a lot of gravel, grass, and Pirelli signs when we did try to use the trackside camera. But yeah, I'm handing the mic over to Nismo. You can ask the final question for Keza.
So, going into the next race, of course, it being Spa, but with definitely a twist, it being quite heavy rain conditions, from what I've heard or understood. How do you think that might affect things like tire wear from what you've witnessed, say, Le Mans?
I think tire wear in Spa will be no issue at all, to be honest, because I expect people to need to be at least pitting twice and change tires. So, because we have like a light cloud into medium rain into heavy cloud, and I would guess at least that you start on soft, go to wets, and go to softs again. So Yeah, I think tire wear won't really matter that much as long as you don't change to the wet too early. But yeah, like it's gonna be exciting at least twice when's the right call to come in and when's the right call to switch to the softs again.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, I mean, it's gonna be full rain if I'm not. Is it gonna be full rain if I'm not mistaken?
No, it's gonna be light cloud into medium rain into heavy cloud.
Ah, so that will that will bring a very hopefully good strategy coming out.
I'm also looking really forward to that quali because just like last season, we have a wet track with dry weather for quali. So wet track preset and medium cloud. So we might have some big surprises towards the end of the quali session regarding track evolution and pace. So yeah, that's also going to be exciting and might scramble up the field a bit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, from last time, that was probably one of the best qualifying sessions I remember. So
Yeah, I think with Ellie, really surprisingly on P1, and yeah.
hopefully we can have some similar results then from that last one, and maybe these really high horsepowered cars can survive the mountain that is Spa.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm gonna dip because you still have people in the ready for Invitational, and I just want to say thanks for the NIS money because I won the poll on the safety cars. I think single-handedly. And yeah, as always, thanks for commentating, guys. Really looking forward to watch the stream back, and see you soon.
Yeah,
Alright,
and
until next
enjoy
time.
the unique camera views.
All right, I will do. See ya.
Have a good one. All right, now let's go ahead and bring in Svi because he's been playing Farming Simulator for far too long.
Let's bring him in.
Oh, hello.
So, Svi, tell us what kind of farm are you currently simulating?
A really good one. A really good one. It's a place in Ireland called Glenlathan. That's really cool.
Is it a potato farm?
No, sadly not. Don't be too stereotypical now, Martin.
Instantly cancelled.
I've now been banned from Ireland. Anyway, Svi, tell us a bit more about your race. You had some pretty good pace at the start and some good fights.
Yeah, I had really good pace at the starts, and like I had the pace to get past. I think it was Cuckoo I was stuck behind, and I just couldn't. I couldn't make the move. Like I had the pace, like more to give once I was past her, but I just couldn't. I couldn't get the overtake down, and then I made a silly mistake, and it allowed. I believe Shad was the next one behind me, and it allowed Shad to get through, and then it took me like 5 laps to overtake Shad, and by then my tires were like pretty cooked because I'm stuck in the aero wash, and it just got messy. And then when Wild Mammoth was behind me after Shad, because he overtook Shad, and he undercut me with the pit stop, and I was like, I kind of wanted to stick it out because I wanted fresher tires at the end once I'd pitted. But he undercut me, and by the time I'd pitted, he'd pulled 9 seconds on me, so there was no getting that back until he made his mistake.
Yeah, and it kind of seemed like you were just really struggling on straights and certain corner exits. Do you think you might have just been running too much downforce on that car?
I had 5 front aero damage and 9 or 7 front left suspension damage
Ooh.
for the last 15 laps. And when I was trailing Trouble, he's already in the Mercedes, which is already quicker than the Porsche in the straight line. I just couldn't keep up. Like I could gain on him in the first sector, and I gained a hell of a lot on him when he was battling with Wild Mammoth. But I just couldn't get the move done because every time I caught up, by the time we got to sector 3, he pulled like half a second on me. But he said to me in the post interview, or the ready for interview room, he was being very careful on the brakes at the end, because his tires didn't feel so good, and I seemed to gain so much on him, especially coming into the final chicane. I could brake like 50 meters almost later, and I was closing the gap, but start finish straight, he's just gone again.
that Mercedes definitely have having the quickest straight line speed, and of course that damage. Be extremely unfortunate that you won't be able to stay as close as you'd want to for the last sections.
Yeah, definitely. And I made a complete arse of qualifying. I had another second in me. I just could not get the lap together, which is a skill issue for me.
Now, speaking of skill issues, did you see what happened to Wild Mammoth towards the end of the race?
I didn't see what happened, but I saw him in a wall.
All right, because I was thinking, since I don't think you were too far behind at that point, you might have seen what exactly had happened, but I guess we're going to find out when we interview Trouble, because Trouble was definitely in the vicinity of that incident. But yeah, it's a respectable result tonight. Unfortunately, not ideal circumstances after the incident, etc. But yeah, good pace, and hopefully you can get a better one in the last race.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Have a good one, and happy farming.
Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and bring in the final guy tonight, Trouble. Also, by the way, Carlover, rule number 1 of Hat Club is don't question Hat Club.
Trying to avoid the. I was about to ask about hats, but I guess I don't ask about it.
I have no
Yes,
idea
that,
what
that
you guys
question
are.
has been well and truly answered.
I've no idea what you guys are on about, to be honest.
Yeah, we can't see the hats now, and therefore, they don't exist.
It
Exactly.
never happened.
Never.
It's a fabrication.
Exactly.
Speaking of fabrication, Trouble, can you give us an explanation for what happened to Wild Mammoth when he was driving in front of you?
Well, unfortunately, a skill issue. Because simply, I noticed at some point you saw that he was fishtailing and sort of having issues with getting the power down. Well, quite simply, I want to say it was after the hairpin, but basically he just put the power down, started adrift, and just didn't seem to be able to catch it. It just kept going. So he went off the road.
Wait, we said that was out of the hairpin, but this was in turn 1.
Which, well, the thing is, he did it twice, and I can't remember which was which, because he did one early in the race and one late in the race.
Oh,
And he did
okay.
basically the same thing. So, either they were both in turn 1, or one of them was definitely, well, one was definitely in turn 1, but I can't remember if one was out of the hairpin or if that was someone else.
Yeah,
But
I'm definitely talking
anyway,
about the one towards
regardless,
the
that
end of
was
the race.
what happened, no matter where it was.
Now, you were involved in a fair few fights as well. Can you tell us a bit about how you experienced that? Because you definitely seemed to be quite aggressive in your fight with Mammoth, actually. Just not quite able to get by despite the good pace.
Yeah, so, well, I guess it makes sense to preface it with, since the start of the race, there were 2 people that were, on my end, ghosted. That being both Cuckoo and Mammoth, who are on the same team. And so, and I was starting basically next to both of them. So at the start of the race, I was trying to fight them, and there was a few times where you said it looked like there would be contact or something. Really, it was just that because I was close enough for it to like ghost, I couldn't quite tell where when their brakes were going on sometimes, like depending on the positioning. And yeah, so that sort of prefaces it. At the end, like when I was fighting with Mammoth, I'd caught up, and effectively it was really fun. And actually, we were doing a really good job of pretending that we were both there. It did mean there were a few slightly overly aggressive moves because, as I said, I couldn't quite sometimes tell when he was braking. But for some reason, at that point in the race, I just had way more confidence in the car. So there was
Did you pit for fresh tires?
Yes, I did. It was because, I'll talk about the tire strategy in a minute. I'll just focus on the battle first. But yeah, effectively with the battle, the thing was that as much as it was, I was quite confident. But when someone's not there, the other person also doesn't necessarily, we'll take a few more risks with, say you're on the inside, they'll take more risks with turning in. So it meant that there was a lot more side by side than there potentially would have been because with less risk there was nobody wanted to back out, which I don't know if that would have gained me a position, lost me more time, whatever. Overall, it was a great battle, but it just made it a very different sort of battle compared to usual. But
You know, I mean, you guys
honestly,
made it seem very realistic, because at no point
Yeah.
in that entire fight did I realize that he was ghosted for you.
yeah, it was more of a like we were doing, as I said, really well at making it, like trying to pretend that we weren't ghosted, but it was more a difference in terms of like a bit increased aggression and a difference in sort of mindset and like trying to make the moves rather than the actual how it looked. Because which to be honest ended up making it really fun because it was probably more action than there would have otherwise been. So as much as it's not necessarily ideal to have someone ghosted, it was great fun, and hats off to to Mammoth for keeping it in front and making it also seem like we were both physically there. Because yeah, that was a great battle.
Absolutely, it was one of the best ones to watch all race, in my opinion. We do have another question, though, this time from Binding, and that
Yes.
is, why did you not murder Svi like he asked you to?
Yeah. Well, you see, I didn't hear him say that before, and B, I was ahead of Svi for most of the race, and Binding is the one behind me in the championship. So if anything, I wanted the exact opposite and to be safer with Svi. Even if Svi had overtaken me, I would want to be safer. Because now what it means is, I think even with the drop race, if I were to not finish, Binding has to be second or third to overtake me in the last round, which
Ooh.
is not impossible. But it at least means that if I finish decently, then I won't really need to worry about where he finishes. And that, like, I don't know how to say it, but just like less stress, that is nice.
Understandable.
Like it's nice to have security in my position. I know Kaiser now has a similar thing where if he DNF'd, I'd have to get a podium. But either way, I'm more focusing on not losing positions than gaining them, even if beforehand I was closer to Kaiser than I was to Binding behind.
Fair
Okay.
enough. It's good to be realistic and not to set the expectations too high. But yeah, to even still be
Yeah.
within a shot of that position at the end of the season is quite the impressive feat, I must say.
Yeah, fourth is by far my best season position. I think my previous best was the GT4s, and that was 6th or 7th, so this is good improvement. And
Also,
being the best Merc is also a nice bonus.
I just want to bring to your attention, you should probably vote in the hat poll real quick, because there's only
Oh,
been
yeah.
one vote so far, and it's about to end.
Is this how many hats? How
So
many
yeah, how
did I?
many-
Oh shit.
We
Sorry.
got like 10 seconds.
I agree with whoever else voted. I think it was 4. I don't actually know, but they looked about right.
Hey!
I know it was at least like I saw at least 3. So
Apparently, we were both right. It was 4 hats.
nice.
Oh no, I was just messing with the polls. I'll tell at the end of the stream.
Oh,
But,
Ah.
I'll let you know if it was 4 or not. Don't worry. I'm just messing
Yeah.
around with polls. Bye.
Anyway, so I mentioned I'd talk about strategy. Effectively, pit strategy was a mess for me this race, because in practice, it was, well, basically softs would massively overheat, which meant hards for long distance runs were faster, and for like 2 laps, which softs weren't overheating, hards were only like 2/10 slower. So hards were definitely the right tire to go for overall. And then, but the thing is, when I tried hards, it looked like they wouldn't necessarily last the race. So because it was hazy or whatever it was, the first weather condition, I thought it might be cooler and that softs would like potentially be the better choice for the first stint, because I thought I'd have to pit for tires anyway. Turns out, the temperature just wasn't nearly as bad in the race, so the tire wear wasn't as bad. Although sometimes they'd overheat if I drifted too much, I could at least keep the rears somewhat in check with just a bit careful driving. And at that point, I was like, well, hards would have gone the whole way. and it wouldn't be beneficial necessarily to go on to stay on hards for the whole rest of the race. I think it wouldn't have been that much slower, but I just felt like maybe risking it a bit more and just managing the tires would help. But yeah, it was proved to me afterwards. Like I kind of boxed myself into that strategy just because of predicting different things. But it was proved afterwards when I spoke to Kaiser, because he did hards the whole way, and apparently, I want to say he said it was Tomba that did the same strategy as I did, and he managed to gain effectively 15 seconds.
Oh.
Because like softs gained a little bit over the course of the race. So I was right in pitting for softs because I gained like a couple of seconds from doing that compared to hards. But if I hadn't had to pit because I hadn't put myself in that situation, it would have been much better to just stay on hards the whole time. And they definitely could have done it.
Yeah, and I mean that's been one of the interesting things for me so far this season is how unpredictable the strategies are.
Yeah, I've got it wrong as much, if not more, than I've got it right. I've just never truly got it as bad as it could be. I've never done the best one, or maybe I have like once, but yeah, most of the time I get a different strategy that's not loads worse, but it always could have been better, pretty much. I think if you...
Yeah, I mean it's definitely been one of the more interesting parts of the season for me, and I actually wonder for you, like, do you want for future seasons for strategy to be as important or unpredictable, or do you think the on-track racing should be maybe a bit closer?
I mean, you say about the on-track racing, but actually I think in terms of both quali times and during the race, this has been one of the closest seasons, at least in the midfield. Just ignore Valeside, Gillis, and Mats, because that's what we do. But other than them, I think it's been one of the closest ones in a while.
Do you mean on track or in the championship?
On track.
I don't know. I feel like I'd have to disagree with you a bit on that one.
I mean, well.
I think the packs we used to have in the midfield were a bit bigger and they lasted longer.
I don't know. Maybe it's just that I'm in more of the midfield ones, whereas before I'd be in no man's land constantly. So
I think that is a big
why.
part of it, yeah, because you've been involved in a lot of good battles so far this season.
Yeah, this season I've been in a lot of battles with, not necessarily even with people that I'd usually be fighting, whereas in some of the past ones, I wouldn't necessarily be doing badly, but I'd always be in the middle of nowhere. So it's definitely felt like there was more battles. But either way, it's not been that far apart. I'm sure strategy has separated it a bit. And personally, I'd prefer the strategy not to matter too much, but that's probably as much because I've not been getting the most out of the strategy, whereas I'm sure the people that have been getting more out of it would be happy for that to continue. And it's still interesting at the end of the day. It does mean it's not necessarily so predictable.
Absolutely, and that's definitely one of the things that I like compared to F1 at the minute. It's been a bit too predictable.
Well,
of
recently
course...
it's got a lot less predictable.
Well, yeah, that finally Verstappen's not winning every race.
Yeah, for the first time in 3 years.
But see, that's actually one gripe I have about the Monaco race is you'd think that that's the one race that's predictable, right?
Yeah,
I only scored 10 points.
And then quali wasn't predictable, but the race was rather predictable.
I only scored 10
past
points.
the first lap.
I only scored 10 points on F1 Fantasy because of that Haas crash.
Yes,
I got
someone got lower than me. Let's go. I got like 58, and I only know of one other person that got lower than me because they had the Haas team, whereas I have K-Mag and Hulk.
Yeah. I had Haas and Hulkenberg, which collectively gave me like minus 90 plus points, which left me with just 10 points positive in the end. That was my worst round ever.
Yeah, this was definitely my worst round ever as well because I have both. I had both of them. I've now changed it away to from K-Mag to Gasly just to not risk that. That being said, with Ocon nearly taking out Gasly, I'm not sure that's such a good idea.
I was about to say any teammate of Ocon is at a permanent risk.
In my fantasy team. Actually, why don't we have an MSR fantasy league? That makes
I think we should.
too much
I think we
sense.
should. So we
Yeah, why
can
don't we
discuss
have
that
that?
after.
Hey, Nismo, set it up. Do it.
I'll too much effort. I'm kidding.
Commentator as well.
Yeah, but I think that would be a good idea. But let's discuss that after the stream at some point. Before we finish off for tonight, Nismo, can you maybe figure out how to get Bricks those liveries he was looking for?
Yes. Quickly. And him.
In the meantime, Trouble, you can tell us about who is your favorite MSR driver and why.
From what? In terms of who would I like support if this was F1, or who do I like racing with?
Well, like imagine you're a fan watching the stream, and you see all these drivers out on track, and you think, "Oh, I want to support that guy."
That's a good question. Let me have a quick think. I'd potentially say Cuckoo. Because Cuckoo
Ooh.
ends up in a lot of interesting battles, and we'll have it like talking to them like, I don't know, they're nice.
Yeah, no, that especially with the
It's like-
season finale and how Cuckoo was in that one. That was a very, very interesting finale as well.
Yeah. So definitely someone I'd support. I'd also be tempted to support Eddie, but this race he didn't do because why? We don't quite know why yet, but hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, apparently having some personal issues there, so keeping him in our thoughts and prayers. But yeah, Nisma, how's the progress going with the skins?
I don't seem to be able to whisper to Brick
What
and the.
what do they want the
Well, they're in the Discord, so you
what do
could
they
probably
want?
try and DM
I thought
them.
that was Andrew in the. Right?
What do they want the liveries for?
Oh, they just like them.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, Brick said he was in the
I mean,
Discord
I think
by now,
all
though.
in all, pretty good liveries this season.
I mean, I'm sure it'd be
Like,
fine if
above
I just
average.
send the Google. It's a Google form link, right?
I think so. Random frustrated
Oh,
I'm back.
computer noises.
he's back.
He's back.
Now you didn't just put yourself on mute; you muted us on the stream.
Sorry.
You disappeared.
He's been taken over by the hats.
Oh God, that reminds me of a movie. I can't remember what movie it was.
Was that movie Super Mario Odyssey?
Actually, Martin, now that we're back on stream, I'd like to ask you the same question about who would you support in MSR. Now, I know that you're a commentator, so you have to be impartial.
Exactly.
But if you didn't have to be impartial, because frankly, besides commentators cursing, like, you can't really affect the result. You can definitely commentators curse, though. But who would you support?
I gotta make sure I give an answer here that doesn't compromise my position as commentator here.
This is why it's an even more interesting question. I mean, the safe bet is to say Kaiser because he's the one who runs this.
See, the real safe bet would to say Lewis Marlowe, because he actually is a good driver and he's always getting bad luck, so he would be quite the underdog candidate.
Yeah. Lewis has got a hell of a lot of bad luck in these leagues, so
absolutely.
He's not in this one though.
Yeah, and Matt's has as well, but to be fair, he's actually been too fast for the bad luck to catch up to him this season. So it's been fascinating.
This season, he's him and Valeside have been so far ahead of everyone, including at times Gillis. It's mad.
Yeah, and I think Tomba's been the one to soak up some of the bad luck, at least in the start of this season, because I've seen quite a few incidents with him as well.
Tomba's luck has been atrocious.
I feel like it's once you're towards the lower echelons of the top positions, that's when you're at risk of getting struck.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see who's gonna come out on top next season because of course I do not know what cars are gonna be used and whoever's dominating definitely seems to depend on the cars because I mean we always have similar people up front, but outright domination doesn't tend to carry over to different car classes.
Yeah, I guess it's just who's better with which cars. Because often it is, it does seem to be consistent, or consistent with the sort of different types of cars, whether it's Mats or Gillish or Velside or whoever.
See, what I think we should do is do a supercar league so I can retire from commentary and actually win a race again.
What, is in a V8 supercar league?
Oh no, I meant the super kart.
Oh, super kart.
Yeah, because
okay.
I remember
That
we
would
did
be
like a race or
hilarious.
two with those in this game, and for some reason the fast drivers were really struggling, and I was in like the top 3 or 5.
Don't think I've ever used them. They look like they'd be insane, though.
Well, we had a couple MSR races with them. I'd be surprised if you weren't there.
Actually, no, I think I did one of the MSR races.
I definitely.
Although I think as ever, I joined like seconds before the race started. So
Traditions.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even for this one, I didn't do that much practice.
Now, Trouble, since we don't have any more people to interview for the night, I'm going to ask you some miscellaneous questions before we finish up.
Okay.
If we were to do a league season where every race is held in a different racing game, what would be 3 racing games that you'd want to include in that? And don't think realism like don't necessarily take into account if people have to be
it has to be a mix.
Just like give us the 3 that you want to play.
It's a racing game. It's not a sim race.
It's allowed to be a sim as well, but if it's any other racing game, you can include that.
Yeah. But as in, it's under a broader category, so they don't all have to be that. So ones I'd want to see, I'd still leave AMS2 in there. Then I'd say Trackmania and Mario Kart.
But which one?
Yeah, whichever the newest one is.
Oh no, that's lame.
I don't play enough Mario Kart to really know what has what and which is the best. Like I've just played the old one that I have on the frickin' DS like once in I don't know, like a year.
Mario Kart DS is pretty good, to be fair.
Yeah, I think it's mostly that I end up playing it whenever I go around other people's houses, because it seems like loads of other people have it. So I just don't have it.
Yeah, actually, that is one of the nice things about the old DS games, is you could do multiplayer with only one person having the game.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing company practice.
The DS
I think more people should do that.
I don't really use my DS anymore, because I have other stuff. So I don't think I've actually owned, or rather used, a Mario Kart that I owned in probably like 3 years. But hey, other people having it's nice, because then it's just like a party game.
I mean, they have shut down the servers for the DS.
As far as racing games go, that should be there.
Yeah.
I'd also be tempted to put Forza, but I feel like at that point you'd have to make everyone drive the same cars, and then you get some people complaining that it's like not realistic enough for a realistic looking game.
No. So see, if we did Forza, we'd have to put you.
I mean, by the way, I'd
a
pick
Class
Horizon,
S car and Matt's in a Class F car and see what happens.
Okay, that's a bit harsh, but but yeah, just specifically, I would pick Horizon, not Motorsport, because then you get some of those funky tracks within like towns and jungles and stuff.
Now, Nismo, I want to hear your 3 game pick, and you cannot include any games that Trouble mentioned.
Mario Kart Wii.
The classic.
There is a difference. Wii games are just the best. So if
did
another
you ever
race,
have the steering wheel thing that you could
I
put
had
the
the steering wheel.
Yeah, we had
have that.
those. It's great.
For Wii Sports, I had a literal baseball bat, a tennis racket,
I
a
didn't have
golf
that.
club. I went all out on the Wii.
Did you have the Wii Fit Motion Board Balance Plus?
No, I didn't have that because
we
was
had some sort of board that you stood on. I don't know what the hell it was called.
I think so. Mario Kart Wii, if you're allowing that to count.
Oh, absolutely. Actually,
That is
if we
different,
did do something like that, I think that game. I think some people actually do play that game on emulator, and there are online servers that you can use that are fan run. So theoretically, that would actually be one that we could use.
Then
That's amazing.
what other games do? Let's I mean, if War Thunder Racing was a thing, which it is actually, weirdly enough.
I mean, there was a World of Tanks racing game mode for a while, so I wouldn't put it past them.
Well, what else? What other racing games do we have? Let me check. I'm gonna check my Steam because oh, okay. There's one game that I guarantee some of you haven't heard of called
Wild Animal Racing.
No, I mean, you've heard of that. No, Flat Out 2.
I've heard of it. I think I played Flat Out 3.
A great old game.
Mostly because actually Ellie told me to get it because it was on sale for F all, but
I think I might actually have that as well. I just never played it.
Although apparently Flat Out 2, if I remember right, it's rated much higher than Flat Out 3 for whatever reason.
It's because
I mean, it might be
they
like
messed
PC2
up.
and
They
PC3.
messed up Flat Out. I'm a Flat Out fan.
Yeah,
They
kinda.
completely messed up Flat Out 3.
What did they do wrong?
Everything. They changed they changed the people who were making it, so it's basically a completely different game.
Oh,
So it is PC2 to PC3.
Exactly.
well,
No. You
thing.
could not
it
describe
was
that
made by
any
the same
better.
people, I think. Wasn't PC3 made by the same people who made PC2?
Well, yes, and it was sort of made by the same people, but it was after being bought by EA.
True. Well, they were
So
already
they
planning
were
on doing
under
that
new
before being bought by
management.
EA, though. Like that was a thing already.
But the I don't think the plan the guy that was in charge before was saying that originally the plan wasn't to do that. It was when they were bought by EA that
Really?
changed to being that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd heard the opposite from other interviews, but maybe it's different sources in the company.
Well,
what I
that's
was
getting
going
it mixed up, but yeah.
Yeah, it's because I remember they were gonna like this was in some of the earliest interviews that they had that they were gonna make like a spiritual successor to like what was it Need for Speed Shift something or whatever, and that it was never really
Yeah.
gonna be as sim-ish as PC2 was.
But I thought that was after it was bought by EA, whereas I thought that
No, I think this was like a
the guy that
2018
was-
interview.
Huh. Because I thought that it was the guy that was sort of management like head beforehand. He was
Well,
saying that
EA might have made it
effectively
worse
They
afterwards.
were told to do that.
Like they probably could have actually made it worse. And I do know that Ian Bell dude has been claiming that they're actually working on another sim again, but with a different team. But what I was gonna bring up a second ago when you said it was like different people is I've heard that for the physics part of the F1 games that they've actually EA's assigned, or it's either EA or Codemasters, could be either, has assigned the Project Cars team to work on the F1 physics now.
Interesting.
And that's apparently why a lot of people are ticked off, because the developers say that the physics are more realistic now, like purely physics-wise, but apparently the car handling itself is less realistic now because of that.
So effectively, what you're saying is that before they'd made some modifications to the cars to make them drive a bit closer to normal, and then by changing the physics, those changes they previously made now F up the driving.
It seems like it. It's like if you purely look at the code, supposedly it's more realistic, but de facto it's the cars drive very unrealistically now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see how the F1 games develop. I myself haven't really actively played an F1 game since F1 2016, which was a fun game, but yeah.
I like
that's good.
2016. I liked
Yeah,
having the
it was a good
classic
game.
cars.
But yeah.
I still remember getting a podium finish in my manor with realistic performance, by the way, purely because all the other drivers made the wrong pit stop call when it rained.
Yeah, I
times.
haven't played an F1 game consistently since I want to say it was 2019 or whichever one the first My Team was in.
Yeah, I would not be
I
able
think
to
that was
tell you. But if we
2019,
could
yeah,
all get
2019.
F1 race stars, I think a championship in that would be amazing.
Well, that does bring me to my last one actually, which is quite interesting. At least I'd think. The Grid.
I haven't played that in so long.
Oh, you mean the original one or 2019 Grid?
I would actually say being specific, Grid Autosport.
Oh no!
Which one's that?
Or Grid 2, actually. Grid 2.
No, dude, what?
I can't remember which
The
one it
original
is
grid's
I've
way better
played.
than that.
It's been like so long since I've played a grid game.
It's gotta be Grid Ultimate.
Because I never owned it. There was like a hotel on holiday where they had like just a random PlayStation or something. No idea why it was there, but hey, it had grid on it, so I was having good fun.
Well, yeah, I'll definitely say it's just a fun. I wouldn't do a serious league in it, but it's a really fun game. I'd say it's a bit like Flat Out 2, and it's a bit like Mario Kart, just with a bit more realism.
Mario Kart is much more refined, though. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah. On the realistic scale, getting hit by a banana, obviously that's gonna spin your car.
Well, no,
around.
I didn't say more realistic. I said more refined. There's a difference.
I mean, why don't they add?
That's like saying with Trackmania. Trackmania doesn't try and be realistic, but it's refined.
Can I be honest?
It's very consistent, and the physics don't always make sense, but it's like you can count on them to work, basically.
I think for just this league, by the way, that Automobilista should implement a blue shell just for mats. Because I mean he's just destroying the grid, and now Vilside and Matt have won the Constructors Championship. So
yeah, they won it since like the second round.
I will be honest, they were absolutely unstoppable.
So guys, I have an idea for the worst 3 games we could put into that season.
Mm-hmm. What would those be?
Starting with F1 2014 for the first race.
Mm-hmm.
Then Project Cars Go for the second race.
Oh hell no.
And
I guess
Mario Kart Tour for the final race. Now that would be
actually,
one
I've realised not for the terrible one, but a game we haven't mentioned is Wreckfest.
Ooh,
true.
I might replace Flat Out with Wreckfest.
Or NASCAR Heat.
Or Lego Racers too.
Oh my god, Lego Racers, never mind.
I'm not sure if that had an online though.
See, actually, it'd be interesting to do. I mean, I know that a league in Rallycross isn't that easy to achieve in this. Like, it's not. It takes a lot more organization than these leagues, just because it's naturally difficult. But that would be interesting to see how the different drivers do in Rallycross.
It would actually be incredibly hilarious if we could hack one of those rally games, do a normal stage, and put 20 cars on track with no ghosting, and see what happens.
Oh, no ghosting would be chaos. That would be more Wreckfest than Wreckfest.
Yeah, we'd have to turn off damage though, because the trees would definitely call the herd.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but yeah, no, that was a fun little convo there at the end. But Nismo, I'm gonna leave you with one more race-related question to trouble, and then we can call it a night.
Okay, it's a multiple choice. We had 3 commentator curses tonight.
Oh, speaking of, have you added those to the counter yet?
Yes, we are now on 24. 9 away from the record. I'd laugh if next race we somehow get 9. Would you like to take a guess?
Busy day next week.
Would you like to take a guess on who we commentator curse before?
Okay. Did you commentate curse Mammoth?
No.
I'll
quickly.
Sure? Okay.
I'm pretty sure we did.
I feel like we did.
No, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we didn't. There's one person who's already been commentator cast before, but then 2 new people.
I can't remember who hadn't, because there were so many people that had one commentator's curse already.
I know there's so many people on my list.
I think I have 1. Is it 1 or do I have 2?
You have 2. You're in
2, okay.
You're in joint second.
Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to think. I am really not sure. I don't even know who the 1 would be.
You want me to tell you the what they all begin with?
Just do 1 at a time, I guess.
Okay, so one of them is a top runner that has been commentator cursed before.
Veilside?
Yep.
Okay. I knew that he'd been commentator's curse before, so it was the main one I could think of. Okay. New ones, Shad?
No. No. That Shad's
Um,
already been commentator cast.
I didn't know that. I did not remember. And
One of
I
the
guess JD, because he's not been there for many.
Yeah, you are right. JD is one of the commentator cast individuals, and one more hasn't been commentator cast.
Hooney?
No, no. They were very, very close between themselves and Cuckoo
In the race today?
in the race today.
Oh, Max.
Yes, Max.
Who I've qualified basically next to, like in like 3 races.
But yeah, so we've got in joint third place in the commentator cast championship. We have Jedlin, Matt, Dimitrov, Shad, Gillish, Max, JD, Exevius, Kays, Kunisek, and Condor. And then
Is it joint third though if there's multiple in the well, I don't know about the 3 commentators curses, but if there's multiple in second, because wouldn't it go to whatever it would be after those ones above them? So it'd be like, say, 5th.
That's
like
too complicated to remember, though. How many? Well, then in joint second we've got yourself, Ellie, Veilside now.
Ellie's not even been in that many races. How have you managed to commentate to curse her twice?
She didn't pay the fee.
Obviously.
And in joint first is the 2 teammates of Exus and Svi.
I was gonna say, I know Exus has been commentator's curse quite a lot. Svi, I don't know, not too surprising. His consistency's not been great, so if you've commentator's cursed him loads, that explains it.
Last time we got him
actually just massively hindered Svi. So then in this season he's doing what Eddie did in the last one, where he qualifies amazing, has great pace, and then something goes wrong. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I got him twice last round. Yeah, so anyway, it's been a great
it's been a great just chat.
Great chat, honestly. Same time next week. Same time next week.
It's one of the privileges of being the final interviewee.
Yeah.
This is what happens.
Getting to make it so you guys sleep less. And myself, for that matter. I probably shouldn't stay up this late.
Bold of you to think I'd be in bed by now.
Oh, but
I probably should be. But I will.
We will great having a chat. Hopefully we'll see you next week for the finale. And
I hope so too. Hopefully we don't have this many people with issues before starting the race.
Yeah.
And I hope they're also not me.
I'll commentator curse you next time, don't worry.
Well, yeah, but there's a difference between commentator's curse and not being able to compete.
Yeah.
Like, commentator's curse, you know what, like, it'll be okay. But if your commentator's curse stops me from competing, then I'll be annoyed.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be too arrogant towards the curse. It may snap back at you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure I'll get annoyed at it, but all I'm saying is that it's not, like... At least I can keep racing and enjoying myself, hopefully.
Well, that's the thing. Usually when people are commentators cursed, that's the very thing that does not happen.
What, enjoying themselves?
Yes.
I'm not sure you can take away my fun, though, I'm gonna be honest.
Oh,
there's a reason that I don't that I don't try. Well, I don't try in the races. I don't practice or take it too seriously because that takes the fun out of it.
I can get behind that though. It's a good mentality to go into the season with, not get too emotional. I mean, just enjoy the races as they come.
If you want to try commentators cursing me, I want to see if you can get me up to the top of the list.
Trouble is going to have the most amazing race of all time next week.
Right, first commentator's curse. I'll have like
write that down,
5
write
by
that
the
down.
end of next week.
Alright, well, good luck for next week then. Yeah, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Thanks for coming on.
Hopefully, I get to win a championship. The
We'll see.
commentator's curse one. I call that an absolute win. But yeah, thanks for commentating. Thanks for having a great chat.
Yeah.
It's been good fun.
Alright, yeah. Until next time.
Yeah, see you next week. Or
Cheers.
well, probably before then. But yeah, cheers.
We'll see. I take that as a subtle threat.
I'm trying to get you to make me win a championship. Like, I can't lose. Well, unless I come. Well, unless you commentate someone else so they're ahead of me as well.
We'll see what happens. I can't give too many spoilers yet.
That being said, at this rate, with Nismo calling it first, second, and third in terms of like, with not counting the number of people in each level, then technically I get a podium anyway. So you know that's a win.
Yeah, I think Nismo is starting to fall asleep, so we're gonna have to let you go for the night. And yeah, thanks for coming on, and see you again next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
Alright.
Yeah, have a good one.
Bye guys, have a good one.
Alright, so yeah, the finale next week. And well, I think very much still close between Veilside and Matt's going into the final race. Only
I think what's even more thrilling though is the question of how many hats you can fit on your head next time.
Oh yeah, I never did disclose how many hats I ended up putting on my head. So everyone said 4. I've got 1, 2. Of course you can't see them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh,
5
a
hats.
sneaky little 5th hat.
Yeah, exactly. You were absolutely bamboozled by Mepache. But yeah, either way, it's been great commentating. We'll hopefully raid someone. But until next time, guys, it's been great, and hopefully we'll catch you for next week's race, the finale at a rainy, well, changing conditions, Spa. So until next time, guys, it's been great commentating, and see you guys next week.
Good night, everyone.
And they're off. Green flag racing. Matt's getting an amazing start. Ultimate Case actually catching speed, napping. Matt getting the jump on his teammate down the inside. Necron losing to Cuckoo on the start. Oh! Can he pressure Dino into a mistake? Dino goes too wide and extremely close for P1. And is this going to be Jedlin going down the inside? Oh, there's a bit of contact. Oh, that's a spin. And there's another safety car. Oh my god, this carnage.
Jedlin and Kays are both in the pits. Fennec, Exus, and Dean are all coming in as well. It'll be very tight if he still wants to make it to the back of this pack, but in the meantime, we do have everyone out of the pit, so we're probably going to get going on this next lap. We are, in fact, restarting now, regardless of that incident.
Okay, he's looking for that undercut. Does he get it? It looks like he might do that side by side and very close together. Cuckoo looking for that inside line on Jedlin ahead. Going into 130R, but they're going to be wanting to go fully defensive into the chicane of Casio Triangle. He's going to end up finishing in P1, crossing the line. Greenlink's going to cross the line. It's going to be Ultimate K's across the line.
Gilish comes across the line to win his second MSR title.